Rule 130, that the House recognizes the historical significance of Women's Day in South Africa, commemorating the bravery of women who marched in 1956 against the oppressive laws and the gender discrimination, acknowledges the progress made in advancing women's rights and gender equality in South Africa, while recognizing the ongoing challenges and disparities that women continue to face in various sectors of society, commits to promoting and supporting initiatives that empower women, protect their rights, and ensure equal opportunities in all spheres of life, including education, employment, healthcare, and political participation. Calls upon all members of the society to join in celebrating the achievements of South African women, to honor their contributions to our nation's development, and to continue working towards a more inclusive and equitable society. Expresses its solidarity with the women across the country and the world, standing against all forms of violence, discrimination, and injustice that women endure. Therefore, it resolved that the House commemorates Women's Day on the 9th of August and recognizes it as a day of national importance, pays tribute to the women of 1956 and all those who have fought for women's rights and gender equality, encourages the government, civil society, and private sector to intensify efforts in addressing gender-based violence and economic inequality faced by women, commits to the ongoing legislative and policy reforms that promote gender equality and protect the rights of women, children, and girls. I so move, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Members, I put the motion without notice. We'll go to the fourth notice of motion from Honorable Makubela. Where is Honorable? Oh. Yes.
My apologies, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I move without notice in terms of Rule 130 that the House knows that on the 6th of August 1992, Mama Adelaide Tambo returned to South Africa after 30 years of exile, marking a significant moment in our country's history, recognizing Mama Adelaide Tambo's early political activism, starting at the age of 10 years. Following her grandfather's arrest, her involvement as a courier for the ANC during her high school, and her membership in the ANC Youth League at the age of 18 years, which led her to meeting and later married Tata Oliver Reginald Tambo. Acknowledging the significant role Mama Adelaide Tambo played in establishing the ANC movement in exile, alongside her husband in 1960s, initially settling in London, and her contribution as a founding member of a PAU, that is Afro-Asian Solidarity Movement, and the Pan-African Women's Organization. Applauds her return to South Africa following the unbanning of the ANC, her election as a national treasurer of the ANC Women's League in 1991, and her service as a member of the first Democratic Parliament from 1994 to 1999. Celebrates the recognition of her immense contributions to the struggle, community service, and nation building as symbolized by her receipt of the Order of the Baobab in gold. Remembers and honors the legacy of Mama Adelaide Tambo, who passed away on the 31st of January 2007, and her enduring impact on our nation. Gaya Mbokodo Gaya. I thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'll attach, Honorable Speaker, that Babu 3 and its meaning to South Africa.
Thank you so much, honorable member. Honorable members, we put the notice without, the motion without notice. Thank you so much, honorable members. Honorable members, let me just clarify something, Honorable Chief Whip, that I have just learned that you, in the Whippery, you have taken a decision that there will be a dissemination of the motions and the notices before meetings. In future, could I please be informed? I was not informed, because in terms of the rules, there's nothing in the rules that speaks to that. There's nothing in the rules that speaks to that. So if there's arrangements made at that level when it's going to impact on the House as the Speaker, can I please have those issues in writing? I think it will just assist us in that regard. Can we then go over to the apology to whom? No, there's no apology, Honorable Cowley. There should be no apology, Honorable Cowley, because it's not in terms of the rules and there's no procedure allowed for that. No, you will not get an apology, Honorable Cowley. That's the problem when you sit here. I can usually hear you when you speak down there. Most of the time I just ignore it. Honorable members, we will now go to the member statements. I have received 2 member statements. That's from Honorable Khune and Honorable Kruger. Can I just understand if those are the only 2? I think so. Can we then call upon Honorable Kruger, Honorable Khune and Honorable Kruger, but please note that each of you only have 3 minutes to table your member statements. Thereafter, we will then give the Honorable Premier 5 minutes to respond to each of the member statements. Honorable Khune, I must still look and see where members are seated. Over to you, Honorable Member. Your 3 minutes starts.
Madam Speaker, the ANC supports the commitment by the Premier on the opening of the legislature that the central policy goal of the term will be job creation. This bold declaration has to be buttressed by industrializing our province. Among the critical industries with a huge potential is the cannabis industry. In this regard, the cannabis master plan has to ensure that the indigenous producers and traders on this industry are at the center. The regulatory and licensing environment has to support them to participate from the primary to tertiary production. Honorable Speaker, particularly, Honorable Speaker, the Eastern Cape, particularly the Pondo land, has a long history of cannabis cultivation. With the recent changes in the legislation surrounding this industry, we now have a unique opportunity to transform the industry to a powerful economic driver for our province. The people of Pondo land, hence today I'm wearing the bead on my head, proud of my origins as a Pondo, helped this industry to them has a potential to create thousands of jobs, more than 10,000 in primary production alone, that including the tertiary production, inclusive of manufacturing, logistics, and retail. It is this regard, Honorable Speaker, that we call on this House to support fully this initiative as outlined by the Premier on us to fully exploit this industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Khune. Honorable Kruger, your 3 minutes starts now.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise in terms of Rule 135A of the Rules of Order. Buffalo City Metro residents buckle under the burden of exorbitant electricity tariffs. On the 31st of May 2024, the Buffalo City Metro approved its 2024-2025 municipal budget. The voluminous budget document, comprising more than 1,000 pages, was made available to councillors less than 24 hours before their council meeting. Contained within the tariff book was an alarming increase in electricity tariffs and charges, notably the introduction of a monthly service charge for prepaid consumers of R465.59 per month. Furthermore, there was an increase from 70 Rand to 781 Rand 92 for credit-metered consumers. Honourable Premier, in the midst of the current cost of living crisis, where mothers and fathers can barely put food on the table for their children, where businesses, especially our small businesses that are the backbone of the local economy, are closing their doors as they simply cannot afford to do business in this inhospitable economic environment. Are exorbitant costs such as this justifiable? To add insult, despite the Municipal Systems Act's peremptory clauses regarding public participation, the Buffalo City Metro seemingly held no public participation. They simply advertised in a local newspaper their new tariffs. Honourable Premier, is it sufficient that elected public representatives are given less than 24 hours to interrogate a budget document, and that residents of a metro are not informed or consulted about their new and exorbitant electricity tariffs? While the Buffalo City Metro faces a declining collection rate and little effort is made to address illegal electricity connections that should be regularized using national government grant funding, the leadership of this metro has decided, rather than finding credible and creative solutions to their cash crisis, instead they will add an additional burden to their already struggling residents. Honourable Premier, will you help the residents and businesses of Buffalo City Metro against these ruinous electricity tariffs? They are crying out for help, but to date, the leadership of the metro have done nothing to help them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honourable Member. Honourable Premier, you have 10 minutes. You can assign them to the different MECs, or you can take all the 10 minutes to respond to these issues. Over to yourself, Honourable Premier.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. Good morning to all honourable members and the guests in the gallery. On the statement made by Honourable Khune, I think we really concur on that progressive supporting of the vision we articulated, particularly around the cannabis. I don't think, Honourable Speaker, there is much to say about it. On the statement by Honourable Kruger, I think we can probably return, of course, the provincial government will definitely have to find a way of coming in there. I know it's a very regulated process that is between the municipalities and NERSA. It goes a long way. But we really agree that our people are really living under very, very difficult financial constraints. We have said so that we want to actually lessen the burden and find a way of making it a point that our people are relieved of some of those. As provincial government, we'll be able to look at that and how best we can mitigate possible. Of course, those are citizens of Buffalo City, but are also citizens of the Eastern Cape. So any instability in Buffalo City will definitely affect the entire stability of the province, particularly that Buffalo City is also our city capital. So I'm taking the point. I think the MEC Williams through COGTA, as well as the MEC Mvogo through Provincial Treasury, will be able to work on that, and at an appropriate time we'll be able to bring back a necessary report, Honourable Speaker, in terms of what possible can be done under the kind of difficult, constrained and regulated environment. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Premier. Honourable members, that concludes the member statements. I will now ask the Secretary to read the first subject matter for discussion.
Tabling of vote number 1, Office of the Premier. Sorry, my apologies, Honourable Speaker. Reply by the Premier of the Province of the Eastern Cape.
Honourable Premier, we welcome you, unless you want to do everything in one. Over to you, Premier. You have 60 minutes for your reply. I hope that's more than enough time.
It's more than enough, Honorable Speaker. I can assure you, and I will try my level best, Honorable Speaker, not to disappoint you. I'm trying to be the jack of all trades and master of everything, so I understand the Secretary. When she calls me for anything of those, I can simply come and say something. Honorable Speaker and Honorable Deputy Speaker, the members of the Executive Council, the members of this august House, the Director General, heads of departments, and all other senior government officials present here, the esteemed guests, I see there are a lot of people here in our midst today. Ndiyanibulisa nonke ngale ntsasa. Ndiyabona into okokuba maninzi amagwala apha amane etyiswa udakadaka hili xa ezawuzapha. Xa kufuneka kuzophendulwa angabikho. Abaleke esasibindanyana sifutshane siphelele esithubeni after bethethile. But Honorable Speaker, let me start my reply on a very humane note today, because our members of this legislature are bereaved and have been reported about their bereavement. The Honorable Werner, the leader of the EFF here, he was bereaved and he had a funeral at home. So we still want to use this opportunity to convey our sincere word of condolences to the family and him. I knew he ran away, he always does that. And unfortunately today I'm a gentleman, I don't want to do anything. But also I wanted to use an opportunity to extend that heartfelt condolences to Honorable Feni. I'm not sure whether finally he's here, he was not here yesterday. But he lost his brother. Ningandifaki kwinto zokokuba naye ngoku uyi-weekend special. I last seen that in Des Van Rooyen, so I didn't know that it will be recurring. So it looks like it could be something like that. Kodwa ke sifuna uthi tutwini kubo nakulo makhaya abo. May God grant strength, grant them strength as they navigate this difficult time. Let me also add my voice, honorable members, to the Minister of Health to condemn the killing of a female nurse by her boyfriend who was based at Khode Clinic, Emaxesibeni. That incident reminds us of the magnitude of the work we need to do to eradicate gender-based violence and femicide in our society. Sithi nakwela khaya ke akuhlanga lungehlanga ikhaya lakwamaphuzi. Honorable Speaker, yesterday members of this Provincial Legislature debated the address we delivered in the rural town of Ndabankulu for the opening of the 7th Legislature. Notably, it was the first time in our 30 years of freedom and democracy that the opening of the legislature was held outside this Bishop headquarters. The leadership of this House must take great pride in taking the opening of the legislature to Alfred Nzo district, the most poorest district in the entire country. That was a way of connecting with our people. As we expected, the honorable people of Ndabankulu welcomed us with an open arms in a thoroughly African way to mark the beginning of work for the 7th legislature. Let me take this opportunity to congratulate all members who had their maiden speeches yesterday. It was excellent to listen to the new members in this House articulating the way they were articulating, especially the women in the special month in the history of the liberation struggle of our country. Uteke Honorable Sondawa and Honorable Koboshane, ndidlulise lo myalezo ngokukodwa to you, Honorable Arams, that you did very, very well. So I'm congratulating you on their behalf. So if how far that will go, I'm not involved. So Honorable Speaker, please don't remove me in that chair. So you must know where the problem started. So we congratulate those members, also the MEC for Desrec, and as well as the fighters who debated here for the first time. It was enjoying to listen to all of you, comrades. Indeed, our people were they are liberators, and women in particular, indeed, were their liberators. In the spirit of starting this seventh term of a government on a tone that is characterized by positivity, collaboration, and cooperation, let me say we cannot put monetary value on humility and ubuntu. That is social cohesion. You can't really put monetary value on social cohesion. So when we get out there to go to our people, you must understand that humility is important, that social cohesion is kind of beyond any monetary value. These two values are in our DNA as people of the Eastern Cape, and we must not lose them. There is no region in this province that is a stepchild. We are all in this province, and we must all get out into where our people are and make sure that we bring our people along. We are a government of the participatory democracy, so we've got to be where our people are. Honorable Speaker, let me thank all members of this legislature who debated for their constructive contribution to the debate. I appreciate the robustness of the discussion and the richness of content shared yesterday. Last week, it was quite refreshing to hear most opposition members say they were positive to take from the vision we articulated last week in Tabankulu. Even yesterday, most members of the opposition parties are continuing with that trend of positivity and waiting to play their part to build the Eastern Cape we want. Come, let us build. Eastern Cape's time to thrive is now. Honorable Hendricks, the African proverb that you quoted, which says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together, is the most relevant for this period, where we want all hands on the deck to build the Eastern Cape we want. That is why last week I humbly asked all of us to emulate cooperation and collaboration of honeybees to put our province and our people first in the next 5 years. It is quite clear to me that we are ready to overcome the hurdle of partisan politics in this legislature, and there is a willingness amongst political parties to find common ground on issues of provincial interests. As we embark on this journey of cooperation and collaborative governance, let us be true to each other. We must stop acting as if there is no development in the Eastern Cape. Development is happening a stone throw away from here, as Honorable Tony indicated here earlier. But some still keep silent about it for petty political reasons. A few years ago, just less than 5 years ago, when we set up a tent there at Bailstone or Breybacht interchange, doing a sword turning, everybody, many naysayers said it will never happen. Today, actually, it's marvelous to drive from East London. So I was even asking Honorable Speaker, Police, when I realized that they took about 22 minutes, that were you driving fast or were you driving at 120? I said, no, we're driving at 120 or less. Then that tells you the issue of the logistics business, how easy it's going to be to move around, moving up into that interchange to Bishop, looking at the infrastructure that is improving, that Bishop to here in Legislature and the Bishop Town. That's the first part of what we will be doing when we talk about the Bishop Precinct, which will happen this year. And if it cannot happen this year, the Bishop Precinct, I will surely leave this position of being a premier only if Honorable Werner will be a premier. So, so if Honorable Werner cannot be a premier, I cannot leave this, but I will have to leave it if we can't do it. I can tell you what will be happening around here. It's something that you have never seen or probably have never dreamt about. You must start having your dreams relevant into what is going to be happening here in Bishop. Unfortunately, as the governing party, we have the responsibility to talk about the roads we are building because they enable further development in our province. We still say this. It is only here in the Eastern Cape where you put up a social infrastructure like a road, but it is not followed by economic boom. Elsewhere, when you put up a surface road, the business gets attracted, it follows. You see a lot of warehouses built along these main roads. So there should be a lot of economic activity that must happen between East London and Bishop areas. I know something up big is coming at Dabozuko with Tezilanga program. I was speaking to the Minister of DTIC together, Minister of Energy in the last few days in Gauteng, where we were, together with Minister of Finance, to get that particular catalytic project moving, that one that the Buffalo City has been working on, so that we can begin to have a massive energy generation that is taking place around that. So Berlin must be brought back, and as you know that we've been also working to ensure that it also gets integrated into East London IDZ space for the beneficiation. I know this week one of companies, the component suppliers to Mercedes-Benz, is celebrating its 10 years. One of the first black industrialists will be celebrating their 10 years here in Berlin. So there is economic activity already happening in Berlin. You can just take a detour, get inside there. You might see forest. Beyond those forests, there are factories that are happening there that were launched. Some of them were launched by me personally. So I know what I'm talking about. Before 2019, you did not have the Bellstone, as Honorable Tony said, interchange. You have it now. It is refreshing to travel from Bishop to East London, now that the road is complete. Before 1919, you did not have Msikaba Bridge and Mtendu Bridge, but now they are seriously under construction. Before the end of this term, you'll be saying something else into that space. I know before 2019, there was never a dueling happening between Bishop and Kumcha. Now we've got a billion project road that is unfolding. As you'll be driving from here to Kumcha, you will have a lifetime experience of driving easy towards that in connecting the N2. The same N2 that we are working from the same junction down towards your Moy Place area. You know what is going on there. Whether you go up to Kai cuttings, a lot of work is there. You will never see stones coming down again there disturbing you, whether there will be climate change or not, unless the mountain itself will fall. We're actually putting those stones where they belong, Honorable Kali. So there's a lot of work that it's really happening. I know some members spoke about interchanges on this. I know the second phase on what we're doing in the interchange we're doing in Dabagazi. The second phase of that is actually a bypass in Butterworth, so that we are able to create an easy movement of traffic for the logistically reasons across the Butterworth. I know you were making mention of other towns like Ngobo, Flagstaff. We've dwelled, we did a dwelling in Flagstaff through the small town revitalization. We've built the main street in Flagstaff, which is actually allowing an easy traffic. We're doing the same thing with the small town revitalization in Ngobo. There's a bypass already, which is actually about to be finished in Ngobo, which allows people to go outside town, those who would want to go to Mthatha or go to Queenstown direction, which cuts through the same community that you see around Ngobo areas. So there is a lot of work that is happening in our province. I'm just trying to emphasize that particular point. Leya kundabakazi yona ndingxamele dala nithembisana apha sawudibana kundabakazi kho umuntu uzawudibana nomuntu kundabakazi akho ndawo yomisa pha khangelana enye indawo nawudibana emlanjeni nawudibane eBP garage. We now have 17 road construction, Honorable Speaker, under procurement in Sarabatman, and they include R72, Alexandria, and Port Alfred. In Christiani, we have 8 projects in the procurement stage, and they include the R410 road from Queenstown to Lady Frey. In Amatole, we have 10 roads under procurement, and they include the R72 Fish River to Biha River. In Jogabi, we have 4 projects in procurement, and they include R391 and R58 to Beggerstorp. In Buffalo City Metro, we have 4 projects that will go to procurement stage during this term, and they include R72, Xulu River to King Palo Airport. In Nelson Mandela Metro, phase 2 of the Motherwell Ado is under evaluation with 3 more projects to go into procurement stage during this term. Yabona ke pha eTsitsika kukho abantu abanezimbo pha bake bame pha bathelekisa indlela yase Western Cape neyase Eastern Cape. These are all roads under SANRAL. There is no road of Western Cape and a road of Eastern Cape. These are South African roads. So you must understand. So those roads, I'm told, there are probably a couple of them will be before the bid evaluation with SANRAL, and soon I will go there and launch them. You will be there, you will see that we are indeed changing this province. In Alfredo, I can mention that we have 9 projects to go for procurement, and they include the N2 Kumbu to KwaBhaca. As we have seen that we're already working at Ngweleni, that is KwaBhaca to Emaxesibeni, that's called the Ngweleni project. You have seen it. I wanted you to go there and see the kind of work that is being done when I took you that side, honorable members, so that you don't think that things are come only start to an end this kind of direction. In Tambo, 20 roads are in the procurement stages and include N2 Vichisville. As you would know, that project has been there, the money has been there, dual link from Vichisville. If you don't know Vichisville, the junction that goes to Coffee Bay, from there to Mthatha, that road should be 4 lanes. It's a dual link, it's called a dual link. So it's a similar road that comes from airport, cutting across what do you call the community there? Is it Mandela? Yes, moving into town. We are really unable there to move quicker because people have built along the roads. Those 2 roads should have been long done as part of the work which was done as we're connecting Ngobo, Okanye, Mthatha to Cochrane. So soon the 20 kilometers are from Cochrane to Nyanga School. That road is the one in Christiani that is under procurement with SANRAL. And from Kukoba, phezu kweNgcotyana, uyoma phezu kweQhumanci usiya ngakuMabelentombi, that road also will be done, particularly in this term. So you'll have an easy movement of traffic from Queenstown down to Mthatha. It will definitely give you a very good experience. In 2019, Honorable Speaker, we did not have 81% grade 12 pass rate, but because of hard work and dedication by officials, educators and learners, we now have a historic record that will be broken soon by other capable group of leaders in the province. That is development on its own. It is the human capital development of this province which will help us build the Eastern Cape we want. I've seen leadership of the Labour coming in here, particularly Secretary of SATU, and all the other leaders of organized labor. We do recognize them. I think the stability you have helped us to have and enjoy over a period of time in the Department of Education with all hands on the deck has actually resulted to this kind of progress that we are seeing. Big up to all teachers who are going an extra mile without any rural allowance, who make sure that this province goes back to where it belongs, because education in our province is heritage. Basically, if you look at it from a missionary's point of view, a lot of work in terms of education started this side. That's why you have got this province supplying all the kind of brains in the entire country. Wherever you go in South Africa, you will find people from Eastern Cape. And those people were not educated only to be stuck in the Eastern Cape. They were meant to help South Africa, to develop South Africa. They were meant to help the world. Wherever you go, you'll find people in the Eastern Cape, whether you're in New York, whether you're in London. That's a kind of world that we are looking for. That's the reason why Mandela and others sacrificed a lot for our country to be where it is. We listened with consent to Honorable Hendricks during Honorable Hendricks talking about schools infrastructure yesterday, citing mud schools and schools built within 71 days in the Western Cape, without a single acknowledgement of the strides we made in the last 5 years, where we built over 100 schools in rural areas and townships. This is self-hate. We need to fix that. We need to fix that is eating our souls in the province. Thank you, Honorable MEC Gade, for reminding members of this House that we are the only province that built over 100 schools in the past 5 years in the entire country. If the honorable members, if the honorable members wanted to see those schools, invite them to accompany you when you do hand over, as you were doing it in Dabangulu, opening schools. You couldn't finish them. There are so many, about 20 of those schools are in friends. You tried, but you opened some. Others are not yet officially open. That's the kind of work that we are doing. We are not burying our heads in the sand. That's an ostrich approach to the reality of mud schools and pit latrines, toilets. We're dealing with some now, and in the February we will elaborate further details on how many mud schools will be eradicated during this term. I can tell you we'll eradicate that. There's a government work in full steam taking place there. But of interest, colleagues, this must be repeated up until people appreciate it. The best physical science teacher in the country, it is here across the Kai in a school called Kyali in Tsendane. It's a young 28-year-old lady. It's a school that we've built with 105 million that we wanted to hand over. Masugude Wangapa, a flex staff. And again, the best 3 teachers of mathematics, they are also in their late 20s and early 30s in the country. They are found here in Gqeberha Motherwell. They have done that in the mathematics. 2 of them are from Tata, one of them obviously is from Ngobo. Don't laugh at me, my home is in East London.
Is that obviously, Premier? Obviously.
As we mentioned in our address, Honourable Speaker, NSFAS school nutrition and scholar transport are transformative programs that we are improving year after year to serve our people. During the week President was opening the Parliament, I had a meeting with NSFAS. NSFAS is advancing a program of establishing the regional offices for the first time. Their offices have been centralized. They were only in Cape Town, but they will be doing regional offices because most young people who are benefiting in NSFAS program are from Eastern Cape. I gave you some details of that. So I said to you about 80,000 of kids from poor families are currently benefiting in NSFAS at 2.9 billion in this academic year alone. You can imagine your kids are adding on that number of those kids. That tells you we are serious on skills revolutions. There's a lot, about 23,000, which adds into that to make more than 100,000. 23,000 kids are in the TVET colleges, which are also funded with an amount that is above $500 million by this government. I-fighters zifumene njani ezi zivoti zabantwana besikolo ikhona nje lendingaziqondi seninesithi ezintathu nje nizifumene nizithathe phaa kwezandazika ngale distortion. So these kids, they should understand where umkhululi wabo is, and umkhululi wabo is the African National Congress. That's why we are giving these young people schools, nutrition at schools, 2 meals in the morning and after. You know, Tina, sasisiye esikolweni, si lumela umqa ngemona, ikofe kwakuthiwa imona. And you were not guaranteed that when you come back you are going to find food, because there was no way that you will get food, so at all. So our kids go to school, whether they are hungry, they get, it's part of mitigating the kind of social grant intervention we're giving to our people. We're getting about 34 billion a year to make sure that we push back frontiers of poverty in our province, getting all those people destitute and people who deserve to get grants to be out of poverty in our province. The biggest problem, honorable members, that I have is what we need to collectively confront, especially when you talk about the grant yabantwana. Mandithethe ngesixhosa. Kunabantwana abaninzi abanikwa i-grant. Abanye ngabantwana babantwana. Abanye babantwana bathatha i-grant yabo bayohlala nayo ngapha eKapa. Bayohlala nayo kwezinye indawo. Every month uthatha i-grant yomntana. Umntana uhleli nomakhulu pha akana grant. So umakhulu uthatha le grant yakhe ayichizele abazukulwana abane grant. Omnye unabantwana abathathu, omnye unabantwana abayi-4, yonke loo mali ihleli kwenye indawo eKapa. So we've got to appeal to these people to understand the grant that is made available for our children, it is meant for our children. It is not meant for something else. Funeka nahlukana nale nto obiza abantu abadala obhebi. Yiyo le nto ingxaki. Thatha i-grant yabantwana. Confusion iqala kuloo nto yokokuba uthathe i-grant yomntana uyoyinika ubhebi onentshebende ngoba usayazi uba kwenziwa ntoni. Phumani kule nto yobiza abantu abadala oobhebi. Funeka uthi yemntu wakuthi xa umbizayo, yemntu ndini ngathi kuliwe. So abantu aba bafundi ndithetha ngabo ke ngabafundi abaxhamlayo across. Honorable members, MEC Gade took his time to share with this House insights on why we are investing in the health of our people. I'm not going to repeat what he said. Safe to say, do not allow yourselves to have short memories. In 2019, most of our health facilities in this province were not in good conditions, including Nessinite and others. In 2019, yes, as I've said, in 2020, we've invested 595.7 million to refurbish 86 hospitals that gave us 2,458 beds during COVID pandemic. In the past 5 years, we did great work in building much needed health infrastructure for rural communities, such as Sipetu Hospital. 3 new hospitals, Bambisani, Zitulele, and Madwaleni, will be completed. Bendibanoko uyawuthetha ngayo mkhuluwa Comrade Mngqosho. Ndiyabona uba uyazama honorable zinto ukutyisa lo dakadaka hila apha eca kwakho. Nena uyaresist, iintlanga zivumi ngosuku lapho udibanise iindwendwe nee-visitors xa uthetha. Ngoba kunzima. Bendibuya uthetha ngemadwaleni banoko ikumhlaba osuka kuwo, just to acknowledge some of the work that is being done. So these are new hospitals that we are building. We are committed to reducing and ending albatross of medical legal. That work is being done in a very, very positive way. That is why we are consistently strengthening support for health. Yes, Honorable Cowley, we are not under any illusion. We have massive chronic and systemic challenges in the Department of Health. Kodwa, I don't think we should be really talking about Section 100. We have been there in Section 100. We should be able to understand what Section 100 can do. We have been having Section 100 in education, and Section 100 did nothing. We had to solve education ourselves as this province. We've turned around the corner in that department, so similarly to the Department of Health. We really don't need that particular call. Now you have said you are here to collaborate, to work with us. So the more you stop being negative, you are on the board, bring ideas and solutions, we'll be able to turn around that situation. Hence, we have introduced a deliberate focus intervention through Section 18 of PFMA in that department. In partnership with the National Department of Health, Eastern Cape Provincial Department of Health, Provincial Treasury, and OTP, we've established 5 work streams to help our provincial department of health to get out of the challenges that members have raised. I've also decided to redeploy it, to reassign Dr. Rolene Wagner back to her position as HOD of Health with effect from the beginning of this week. Again, I repeat, we must support health the same way we have supported education. I've spoken to all stakeholders, I've spoken to Labour about her return with all the challenges that were raised in the past. She's now ready, fully understanding the difficulties she might have gone through. She's back there with a bang. So I'm calling upon every stakeholder in the department to work with her and support her. With our 5 streams led by Director General, I can tell you this time around, that Department of Health. We went at length on the efforts of this government to ensure water security and supply for this province through projects such as Mzimvubu Dam, desalination plants, and several bulk water infrastructure projects underway in all our districts. We are going to double our effort, honorable members, working in partnership with municipalities to accelerate and the reticulation of water to communities and unblocking water schemes that are not working optimally. I've got a WhatsApp group with all mayors. No one is actually resting on his or her laurels anymore around this issue. But if our districts cannot change the current situation, we've got to think twice. I think the local municipalities, some of them are more capable to make sure that water gets out of taps, water gets to our people. We can't be stuck with a system that is not helping us all. Water is life. We've got to get water out of taps, and that water must be clean, treated water to go to our people. So all mayors of districts, they must understand that. So that's the biggest kind of an Achilles heel that we've got to deal with. I expect members of opposition to acknowledge the gains we've made in government, just as I'm the first person to admit that unemployment, crime, and development are still challenges of our times. In that way, we will find common solutions to our common challenges and have common approach to exploit our development opportunities. The starting point of our collaboration and cooperation should be tackling the number one enemy of the people of the Eastern Cape, which is that unemployment. I've directed the 7th administration to organize a well-prepared jobs summit, which will discuss and make proposal on addressing the number one enemy of our people, which is unemployment. This is following up the development summit we had for social compact, which was done, facilitated by EXEC, just earlier this year, or towards the end of last year, I can't remember very well. Part of the program flowing out of that was an economic summit, the job summit, and all that. So this is a kind of work. So your call, Dr. Nutsi, is also part of that work that we're doing. We'll be glad to get you on board. We'll be glad to hear your views as we're calling on. I'm now currently having round-table discussions with sector per sector, the retail sector, the manufacturing, so that I understand exactly from where they are what is the issue before we get into that summit, and consolidate a proper report that everybody will be able to look at it. So we do have now development goals that are meant to help us crystallize the issues that have been picked up from the National Development Plan as well as the Provincial Development Plan. So we are very clear. We've got a clarity of mind, a clarity of thought. We're clear on our vision. So the question is to make sure that that vision is aligned to a proper plans, proper implementation. So we've got to get that one sorted. And I can tell you, so what is more exciting about Bishop Precinct? It will unlock potential of property development, Honorable Mayor, as you said yesterday. So you've got to get, there is nothing that makes young people to go and stay in East London and elsewhere when everything is around here. You've got to bring malls here in Bishop. You've got to bring properties, the housing here. People walk into work, and our people will be productive. If they wake up and walk to work, they will be so productive without all this kind of travelings that they get subjected to. So that's an idea that we are going to do in this particular term. Come the 2030 vision end, that is our provincial development goals of 2030, you will see an Eastern Cape that has never been seen by your forefathers, by your fathers, by yourselves as well. It will be more witnessed by your kids that are coming. The basis of our discussion in the Job Summit will be the two priorities of the 7th administration, which are putting the people of the Eastern Cape to work and building our industries for inclusive economy. With these two priorities, first of all, the unemployment rate in the Eastern Cape remains the highest in the country, affecting mainly youth, women, and people with disabilities. Secondly, our provincial economy remains vulnerable, hence it is growing at a rate we want, not growing at a rate we want to create jobs. As the ANC-led government, we tabled our vision around these two policy parties when we opened the 7th legislature, but it will not harm us to share the detail with the critical stakeholders and opposition parties in the Job Summit to chart a collective vote. I'm so positive about the GNU. GNU is going to turn around the tide. It's going to help us to improve efficiency. It's going to help us to bring stability. So we are not locked on anything. You are right, Honorable Kasim. In Nelson Mandela, when service delivery is not getting to our people, the only organization that is blamed is African National Congress, because our people can only resonate with African National Congress. So that issue, so you are right there. So that issue on its own make us to be concerned. We have not been building houses there for a number of years because of the coalition arrangement that is there. If those who are in coalition arrangement with us in Nelson Mandela are not shaping up, we can't be stuck with that. We only exist to advance the national democratic revolution. We only want to see life changing to our people. We are not stuck to anyone. Anyway, in any revolution, there are no permanent friends and enemies. So we are here to serve our people. So if we work, we must do that. So if you've got an MMC that does other things out there, the way that things are done, and at the end of the day, ANC get flagged and they get more seats. Well, they are not working. When they are given work, there's a problem. There's a problem to the ANC. So ANC will have got to think serious about that moving forward. At national, after years, we experienced a 1-hour program of opening parliament, stability, president being listened by South African citizens and our people to engage and interact. No disruption. We don't have time for anarchy and chaos. So anarchists will have to stand somewhere there and watch whilst we are moving forward with speed. Unless people change. If they are incorrigible, there is no way. We don't have time to change anarchists now. We are working to serve our people. Equally, we presented a comprehensive set of growth frontiers, which are agriculture, manufacturing, oceans economy, tourism, and digital economy. That would take this province to an unprecedented growth path. At the Job Summit, I expect members of this legislature to give us practical ideas to add to our thinking in government around these 5 growth frontiers. What do we do in our fisheries? Because we have various species that can benefit this province to create jobs, such as horse mackerel, hake, tuna, squid, demersal shark, and East Coast rock lobster, to mention but a few. These are fish that are only found here. And people who are said to be the most poorest in the whole world are the people who live along the coast, the wild coast. When they are living around the wealthy that comes out of that. We spoke at length about agriculture and what we are doing in the areas of cannabis, meat, wool, and milk production. We highlighted tangible projects we are doing in the irrigation schemes with the Department of Water Affairs without neglecting primary production products for food security and commercialization by emerging farmers. What do we do about tourism in the context of accessibility and the need to develop an airlift strategy? Yes, the roads we are building will improve road travel to our tourism sites, but we need a strong share of the international tourism market to boost our revenue. Ngujan, come here again, man, MEC Mnata, man. You see, we are Kobapa, we are Zam, our morning we are Zam. So we need the support. The period 2025 and 2029 will not be characterized by summit. It will be an era of implementation. So, Honorable Kasim, you did very well to give people places where they belong yesterday, you see, when you started your input. So I don't have to do much more damage control. So you are doing an exceptional job. So you were very good, you made a very good articulation. And then Honorable Manilu City then brought up a nice sweeping. I don't have anything to sweep. So I am just trying to help you to understand more what we are trying to say in this vision. So the period 2025-2029 will not be characterized by summits. It will be an era of implementation. We are now 30 years in this democracy. A good governance is the foundation that would propel us to greater heights during this term. That is why I invited members of this House to be firm on oversight. So I know, Honorable Hamse, you are in charge of the SCOPA, but you did a very good presentation here. So we are very much interested in the presentation that you made, at least the articulation. So now it's no longer about Honorable Koboshane and Honorable Sondaba, it's about Honorable me to you. Our local government has challenges, and we are not going to help our colleagues in that sphere to improve if we adopt the approach. And Honorable Speaker, you must not tell people who are not here things that we are saying here in the House. So things are ending here. The country needs a speedy review of the fiscal allocation. We've been raising that issue with National, and my belief is that the work that we're doing on the small town revitalization, it must be packaged to form part of the BFI, so that we submit. We've seen what has happened when we change the infrastructure of our municipalities. Our municipalities are rural. We might sit here and think that we make all these expectations about them. They are simply not capable to a larger extent. You know very well, Mkaya, what has happened with the Komani when it was completely everything confiscated, including its yellow feet. So we're dealing with that issue through MEC Ngat and the department, the issue of the yellow fleet and all that. Phaya emakhaya ke kuthiwa ngonontente andizuyithetha ke le nto bendiyithethele ngapho sizama uyilungisa ke loo nto yenzeke kodwa inyaniso yona bayawuxuba umhlaba kodwa sizawuyenza babuyele phaa oonontente babe khona baqhubeke. Honorable members, in line with the call of the President for a national dialogue, we shall convene our provincial session to deal with critical challenges facing the province. These will include the concerns raised by honorable members relating to substance abuse, gender-based violence and femicide, erosion of the moral fabric of society, and the need to build social cohesion and the nation building. This is the reason I made a clarion call to launch 3 campaigns on values reorientation, restoration of the rule of law, and making Eastern Cape the cleanest province. These campaigns have the potential to build a responsible and active citizenry with improved social consciousness. Please join us in making the campaigns a success. So we agree, colleagues, and I'm happy that police are really lifting up. I know we've been given some aircrafts to reinforce, because the problem with the cash in transit, CITs, they happen in Cape Town, they've got something to do with Eastern Cape. They happen in Eastern Cape, they've got something to do with Durban. They happen in Durban, they've got something to do with Johannesburg. Though they are moving around. So the state cannot back off. And we have said it, I say it here in the House, that any thug or criminal, or any person who takes out a knife or a gun and charge at the police, police must not run away. We have given them everything. We have trained them enough. That's why on toe-to-toe, police are not actually succumbing. So 2 places that these criminals belong to, they belong underground, or they belong in jail. And we're going to do that. We're going to cleanse them. We're going to wipe them out. They will take them where they belong. So if they start charging at police, police must not create stories. And we will be on the side of the police. Police is the state. State can only be protected by police, not by anyone else, not by any private security companies. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker, Umama Charlotte Maxeke told us that the work we're doing is not for ourselves. We must kill the spirit of self. I'm super excited with cooperation and collaborative tone of members of this legislature as we start this 7th administration. Here you have paralyzed our forces this side. How you came about Kasim and Dr. Nuz. Dr. Nuz, I think we are leading this side very well, you see. But you still need just to correct some people with the uniform there. They must start beginning to understand you well. How are you leading this opposition politics? I feel like we don't have a GNU, but we should work together, GNU or no GNU. And if we do that, our people in the province will be served. The executive I'm leading is ready to put shoulders on the wheels to move this province forward. Members of this legislature are more than welcome to join us in the exciting journey of building the Eastern Cape world. We must think together and execute our plans together for the benefit of our people. Masambeni ke sibheke tsitsikama siyo celebrate Women's Day. When we go and celebrate, we put tangible things. The impact we've made to our women. Our women struggled for material issues, struggled for women emancipation, not just to see things happening. They must be part of that. Izani ke sakhe, uNehemiah wayitshilo. Izani sakhe. Zibe khona indonga apha ezwile. Siyayazi ba ngosa sisaka ngutyana babe khona nangala xesha likaNehemiah oSalabhanathi. NoTobiya. Ncedani ke fighters ningakulingeni nibe ngoSalabhanathi. NoTobiya. Izani kule ndawo umuntu akuyo sakheni. Eastern Cape Times to thrive is now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, honorable members, and thank you, honorable Premier. You have used your time wisely. Honorable members, there is a grey Nissan Navara, registration KNG 053 Eastern Cape. It is blocking other cars. Please, can you remove that vehicle immediately? We will now proceed with the, commence with the tabling of the policy speeches, and I call the Deputy Chair of Chairs to take over the presiding. You please be kind to her.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, Premier, members of the Executive, Honorable Chair of Chairs, Honorable Chief Whip, Honorable members, our Secretary and the team, heads of department led by UDG, our guests, I greet you all. I will ask the Secretary to read the first order of the day.
Tabling of vote number 2, Provincial Legislature.
I will call upon the Speaker of the Eastern Cape Provincial Legislature to present her 2024-2025 policy speech in terms of role 202 subsection 3. Over to you, Honorable Speaker. Your 20 minutes starts now.
Thank you so much, Deputy Chair of Chairs. I hope you'll be gracious in a minute.
Have
or
you ever
two.
paused to ponder the true value of
The
democracy?
Speaker.
How about the power vested
Premier of
in
the
public
Eastern Cape Province,
participation?
our Deputy Speaker, and our
These are
Chair
not
of
just
Chairs, the
abstract
members of the
concepts,
Executive
but
Council,
dynamic
the
forces
Chief Whip of
shaping the
Majority
world we
Party,
live in.
members of the
Our journey
Legislature,
begins in the Eastern
representatives
Cape
of
Provincial
institutions
Legislature,
supporting
a
democracy,
beacon of
the
democracy
DG
in
and
action.
HOD is present,
Since its
representatives of
inception,
organised
the
labour,
legislature has
ladies and
embarked on
gentlemen, molweni nonke, goeiemorgen mense, good morning, dumelang. Honourable Deputy Chair of Chairs, this month recognizes the momentous strides and sacrifices of women who withstood the worst of an oppressive system and pays tribute to the more than 20,000 women who marched to the Union buildings on the 9th of August 1956 in protest against past laws. Igama lamakosikazi. Malibongwe. This Women's Month provides an opportunity for us to evaluate progress in transforming society, particularly the transformation of an unequal power relations between women and men, tackling gender oppression, patriarchy, sexism, racism, ageism, structural oppression, and creating a conducive environment which enables women to take control of their lives. We can be proud that women are no longer constrained by oppressive laws to be bystanders in the peripheries of political and socio-economic development arena, but can fully participate as owners of businesses and capable leaders in private and public sector organizations. The work of the Provincial Legislature is critical to the advancement and the realization of our democratic goals, thus deepening democracy and adopting people-orientated and participatory democracy approaches should be prioritized in the 7th term, which should then enhance the work of the legislature, ensure that there is broader public contribution from our diverse communities to create a well-informed society, patriotic and active citizenry in our legislative processes. Honourable Deputy Chair of Chairs, the Eastern Cape Provincial Legislature collaborated with Buffalo City Metropolitan Municipality in honouring the International Nelson Mandela Day on the 19th of July 2024. We want to thank all of the honourable members that availed themselves and also all of our partners for collaborating with us and contributing to a positive change in the lives of the people of Chalonga. Baie dankie mense. We have already tabled the end of the term report for the 6th term of the legislature in this House. Just a few of those key milestones. We must remember and not forget that we have reviewed the standing rules of the legislature to include virtual sittings. We've launched the ad hoc committee on the TB caucus. We've established the budget committee. We've introduced the committee of the whole House to oversight all matters relating to the health portfolio. We've recognized 14 of our departed heroines and heroes who were torchbearers of our province by naming spaces in the precinct in their honor. We have rolled out the long-awaited enterprise resource planning system, which went live in 2022 in a phased approach. The appointment of all executive managers, resulting for the first time in a fully fledged female-only secretariat, is one of the most positives that we take into the 7th term for legislature. What then would be the outlook for the 7th term? Honourable Deputy Chair of Chairs, we must always remember that the Constitution bestows upon the legislature the responsibility of being a guardian of the people, an intercessor between the provincial executive organs of state and the people whose work must advance at the same time as we defend the socio-economic rights of the citizens. The legislature is a junction point between government and its citizens. It carries an onerous responsibility on its shoulders to stand in the gap and intervene on behalf of the people to government and organs of state. And this current financial year, 24-25, serves as a transitional period in the planning cycle from the 6th to the 7th term. Our efforts will therefore primarily be focused on completing the work of the 6th term during this period. We will draw from experiences gained in previous terms and the recommendations from different forums, including those emanating from reports of institutions supporting democracy. We will strive to drive faster progress, more action, accountability, citizen involvement, and better implementation by the provincial executive and organs of state. The damning findings of the Zondo Commission of Inquiry on the effectiveness of oversight by Parliament are an indictment on us and cannot be ignored. The recommendations need to be considered in our programs for the 7th term to enhance the work of the legislature, as these findings and recommendations affect the entire legislative sector. The Commission's report recommends that Parliament needs to address complaints about frequent and persistent failures by ministers and other representatives of the executive to ensure that corrective action required by the committee reports and adopted by the Assembly are implemented. As the legislature, we are not immune to the weaknesses of House resolutions not being attended by the executive and other organs of state. In the 7th term, such inactions from the executive should not be tolerated. In this regard, we will develop a tracking mechanism on the implementation of House resolutions, which will assist to enable us to monitor implementation and non-implementation of House resolutions. We should also review our rules to institute effective consequence management to those executive authority flouting our rules. The Rules Committee of the Legislature, in its first sitting for the 7th term, has set up governance structures and approved the reconfiguration and the reduction of committees from 21 to 17. This was done to streamline committees, to maximize the participation of members, and to make committees more efficient and agile. We will continue to conduct joint oversight amongst committees where necessary, with our institutions supporting democracy on those transversal matters. In line with the resolutions of the Sector Oversight Summit, our committee shall continue to work closely with our institutions supporting democracy, and their reports and recommendations shall be utilized in support of oversight over the provincial executive and organs of state. We can't allow those reports just to lie there and not to be implemented and to monitored and to be evaluated. To bring further the legislature closer to the people, with budget and time permitting, we shall endeavor to hold committee meetings beyond the ordinary seat of the legislature. Our customized sector oversight model must be reviewed under the leadership of the Committee of Chairpersons in line with our provincial peculiarities and to factor in the Money Bills Act processes. Our committees have already developed committee plans, and we shall ensure that those are adopted and implemented in this financial year for enhanced oversight over the provincial executive and organs of state. Resolutions emanating from the planning session of committees have also been ratified by the Committee of Chairpersons of the 7th term and shall be implemented incrementally. Honourable Deputy Chair of Chairs, the National Development Plan asserts that the link between the legislature and the executive is critical for ensuring that the executive is held accountable, and it further states, I quote, "Provincial legislatures need to shine a light on issues of poor, uneven performance. If provincial legislatures are not seen to fulfill this accountability functions, it is inevitable that questions will be asked about their utility to the governance of our country." The Oversight Summit resolved to utilize empirical data to plan, implement, and evaluate oversight activities to realize the relevant development strategies envisaged in the NDP, the SADC Master Plan, the AU Agenda of 2063, and the SDGs. This is more critical as the 7th term now marks the last term of government of implementing the National Development Plan 2030. Under lawmaking, Honourable Deputy Chair of Chairs, the high-level panel report on the assessment of key legislation and acceleration of fundamental change remains relevant and provides useful advice on enhancing the work of the legislative sector. This would require us as the legislature to identify existing legislation that enables the transformational agenda in pursuit of the developmental state, as well as laws that impede this goal. Our oversight processes should culminate in a process of developing laws that address service delivery challenges and blockages emanating from our oversight efforts to hold the provincial executive accountable. In the 7th term, we intend to focus on capacitating and empowering members to develop provincial and national laws in terms of both Schedule 4 and 5 of the Constitution where necessary. Furthermore, to ensure the effectiveness of service delivery, we also need to follow up on the implementation and the impact of the laws that we pass, including subordinate legislation. As such, we shall ensure the finalization of the Eastern Cape draft scrutiny of subordinate legislation by establishing an ad hoc committee to pursue this work in earnest. Honourable members, the Legislative Sector Oversight Summit resolved to thoroughly evaluate and review the public participation framework and public participation processes for effective oversight in the legislatures. Public involvement and participation are a strong requirement to hold democratic principles and are regarded as the cornerstone of the democratic system. However, we have become concerned by the lack of interest of communities to attend certain public hearings on bills sent out for public comments and participation. We seem to sometimes not get the relevant sector to attend those public hearings. In this regard, the legislature to the PPP&E will review the standard operating procedure on public hearings to allow more innovation in facilitating public involvement and to customize the public participation framework, thereby ensuring that more emphasis is placed on public education for citizens to understand the role of the legislature and the entire legislative arm of the state. The executive of the legislature resolved that consideration and finalization of petitions emanating from the PPP&E should be resolved within 6 months. And in line with this resolution, the TLTTP program should then be preceded by the consideration and the resolution of outstanding petitions for the district where it is to be hosted. The intergovernmental approach to resolving petitions will be at the center of the agenda of the Provincial Speakers Forum, building up from the work that has started in the 6th term. MEC Kapa, you have left us, but we are still there. The sectoral parliaments for this financial year, the Rules Committee has resolved that we will focus on a workers' parliament as well as a parliament for the performing arts and the creative arts, sports and culture, which will be the first of its kind, this parliament that the legislature has ever hosted. The legislature will continue to implement the resolutions of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association as expected of its affiliates. Key programs for this period should be guided by the recent resolutions of the CPC conference that took place in Accra in Ghana from the 2nd to the 5th of October 2023. Among the resolutions were the following. Parliaments across the Commonwealth must seek to ensure there is secure, reliable, efficient, affordable, and environmentally sustainable energy provision available to all. The 3 branches of government must maintain high standards of accountability, transparency, and responsibility in the conduct of all public business. Parliaments must embrace the representative function both in its diversity of its membership and through engaging the public, including through appropriate, innovative approaches such as e-parliaments. There should be a constructive assessment of the Commonwealth Charter for Human Rights since its milestones was declared to ensure that it applies to all Commonwealth citizens regardless of race, religion, gender, and sexual orientation. In 2024-25, the CWP will host the men's sector on a dialogue focusing on tackling the scourge of gender-based violence and femicide. The role of institutions supporting democracy has been very critical in the work of the legislature. We are now in the process of reviewing our MOUs with the institutions supporting democracy as well as with SALGA. These institutions are our critical partners. They enhance our work of advancing the mandate of the legislature. Furthermore, our plan is to formalize our relations with the traditional leaders, Ibumba, Yamakosikazi, Amkunkulu, Contralesa Women's Chapter, through the Eastern Cape House of Traditional Leaders and the Khoi and the San. We will continue to build on the relations established earlier this year. The speakers program for this year will include various sessions with stakeholders for feedback on what has been achieved from the 6th term and inform better the current terms of engagement towards effective relations building. The 2024 South African Legislative Sector Summit proposed a variety of changes to the current operations and systems in the legislative sector to enhance the effectiveness of oversight, lawmaking, and public participation. These proposed changes were suggested by the legislature in the latter years of the 6th term with the re-engineering process. The process aimed to synchronize the mechanics and to align the current structure that was adopted in 2016 with the strategic goals and to adapt it to the contemporary legislative environment. This work must be finalized in this financial year to ensure that the capacities to support the 7th term is aligned with its priorities. On the high-level panel report, recommendations for Parliament is to monitor the professionalization of the public service. In this regard, the legislature shall also embark on the professionalization of the institution, focusing on service standards to improve performance of the legislature in order for it to provide adequate support to its members. The members comes first. Members are to support it, and the honorable members need to feel that they are respected and valued by the staff. The professionalization will include upskilling and training of staff, prioritizing staff support, the committees with research and technical coordination work, as well as ICT. With the establishment of the 7th Legislature of the Eastern Cape Provincial Legislature, we shall then hold a strategic planning session, which is in line with FMPLA. The upgrading of our chamber and committees, and in the 6th term, we all can see that the chamber have already been upgraded. The program has started to accommodate the increased number of members in the provincial legislature. We are now in the process of procuring an audio-visual hybrid communication solution that is underway and will be concluded in this financial year. The envisaged solution will allow for hybrid plenaries and committee sessions to allow seamless communication and collaboration between remote, mobile, and venue-based systems. The chamber and committee upgrade will be implemented in phases, starting with the chamber firstly, Dolim Zaiduma Committee Boardroom. The legislature will explore the use of a digitized committee system to incorporate committees planning, issuing of notices and agendas, recording and tracking of resolutions, as well as the petitions. The designs for the Wall of Remembrance project, which was pronounced in the 6th term, have now been finalized by the Department of Public Works, and they are now seized with the rolling out the implementation of this project through its own procurement processes. The completion of the wall is therefore expected to be finalized in the 2nd year of the 7th term, at which point it will be unveiled. A consolidated list of members of the legislature to be honored during this unveiling has been finalized, and we will then start on embarking on the consultation process with the relevant families. Honorable members.
Sorry, Speaker, you are left with 2 minutes now. Thank you.
Yes, I am about to close. Thank you. Our budget, our budget for the 24-25 financial year is 706 million, and we must also understand that for this, money includes the extra gratuities of members that are not returning, as well as the salaries of the additional 9 members that we are having in the House. We have reiterated the need to review and re-engineer the operations and the systems of the legislature so that it is able to be agile and effective in advancing its constitutional mandate. This process should lead to a paradigm shift from how things have been done in the legislature and a re-look into the reorientation of public programs to ensure realization of our democratic goals. In honor of the 1956 generation of women, who at the risk of persecution and their comfort in a belligerent society sacrificed for us all. And therefore, now 68 years later, we wholeheartedly commit to continue in carrying the torch and not innovate nor slumber in advancing the struggle for equality and a gender-sensitive society. To achieve this momentous task, we need to unite all women and build strong women organizations that will popularize and champion the struggles of women on all sides of struggle. Hasta la victoria siempre. I thank you so much, Honorable Chair, Deputy Chair of Chairs. I table the following documents in terms of Vote 2, the Policy and Budget Vote 24-25, Annual Performance Plan 24-25, and the Operational Plan 24-25. Nkosi kakhulu.
Thank you, Speaker. The policy speech and all the tabled documents stand referred to the Portfolio Committee responsible for subject matter of the vote in terms of Rule 161, subsection 2. I will ask the Secretary to read the second order of the day, and I will hand over to the Honorable Speaker. Thank you very much.
Tabling of vote number 1, Office of the Premier.
I will now call upon the Premier of the Eastern Cape to present his 2024-25 policy speech in terms of Rule 202, subsection 3. Over to you, Honorable Premier. Your 20 minutes starts now.
Hey, I'm so interested in that 2 minutes you were given. It sounded like 5 minutes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and the protocol is observed. Good morning to all our distinguished guests in the House. Honorable Speaker, with profound commitment and a deep sense of responsibility, today I present the budget and the policy statement of the Office of the Premier for the 2024-2025 financial year. The context of the 2024-2025 annual performance plan coincides with an end of the term of the 6th administration. The 7th administration is now in full swing in an environment where South Africa is under a government of national unity. This context has resulted in the development of the performance objectives which are futuristic to ensure a seamless transition to the 7th administration. The budget of policy statement we are presenting, Honorable Speaker, today is a promise of progress. This poor budget is meticulously crafted to ensure that our resources are directed towards those who need them most, administered by an ethical state committed to transparency, accountability, and excellence. The budget allocated, honorable members, to the Office of the Premier for the fiscal year 2024-2025 is just above $1 billion. This is a reduced budget from our previous allocation of 1.2 billion. However, we embrace the challenge of doing more with less. We are going to be more innovative in thinking, prudent in managing these resources, and relentless in our focus to maximize impact. Our budget finances the 4 programs structure with 3 transversal programs and 1 administrative program, therefore. Program 1, honorable members, is allocated 171 million for administration, focusing on enhancing administrative efficiency and service delivery. Program 2 is allocated 149 million to emphasizing strategic planning and accountability. Program 3 is allocated 289.7 million for facilitating effective governance and shareholder engagement. Program 4 is allocated 460 million to build robust state capacity and institutional support. With our budget, Honorable Speaker, I will roll out an annual performance plan which has 6 core themes. 1, Honorable Speaker, being investment coordination and promotion. In 2024-2025, we will continue to strive to mobilize resources and investment with a focus on the public sector, corporate sector, and international partners. The OTP will prioritize managing the investment pipeline focused on 3 principles that include protection of already declared investment, mobilizing for new investments, and implementation of measures for the reduction of the red tape. Honorable Speaker, let me repeat what I said when we opened the 7th legislature in Tabankulu. Unemployment is the #1 enemy of the people of Eastern Cape. We're repurposing public employment programs such as EPWP, Community Works Program, and Presidential Youth Employment Initiative to give our people meaningful jobs. We have developed 9 integrated programs which include inclusive early childhood development and learner attainment, municipal support, and youth skills development, amongst others, that the Office of the Premier will coordinate work for a greater impact on the lives of our people. The economy of our province, honorable members, remains subdued, and we are implementing several catalytic infrastructure projects to reignite it. In 2024-2025, the Office of the Premier will prioritize the coordination of 15 strategic catalytic projects. These include projects such as office precincts projects in Emakresibeni. I hope that you have seen it in Mount Elif when you were there, that the office is going up there. And in Mkanduli, indeed, we're building a border tower from Mkanduli in Mkanduli town. You must go and see it. The Mzimvubu multi-purpose water development project, Kalescope, and wind farms, plus improvement of roads and tourism destination. The second category of projects focuses on stalled projects such as the Welisizwe Bridges program. As you all know, that we're finishing the 19 allocated bridges. We had earlier, now we are focusing on the additional 17 bridges to make sure that we are able to get those bridges to our people as soon as possible. But also included on that is a liquefied natural gas. It's something that we call the LNG, the biofuel development, Wild Coast SEZ or Industrial Park, Eliteni Mining, and Bishop Precinct. There's work that is being done at Eliteni Mining already. I think the committees of oversight must start visiting the area. They are starting recruiting people to work. The third category of projects will focus on social infrastructure estimated at 8.6 billion, covering sectors of health, education, transport, and human settlement. The Provincial Infrastructure Coordination Council is playing a significant role in strategic oversight and coordination of catalytic projects this coming year. The Provincial Development Plan, honorable members, remains our guiding beacon in our positioning of youth-focused programs. The Office of the Premier is striving for coherence in the coordination of skills development programs in the following focus areas: internship, apprenticeship, learnership, bursaries, work-integrated learning, and short skills program. By 2029, 20,000 young people would have been trained in the Eastern Cape. Gender-based violence and femicide programs will be coordinated towards embrace the National Strategic Plan on gender-based violence or femicide. The Office of the Premier is focused mainly on accountability, coordination, and leadership. The institutionalization of the moral regeneration program and research, as well as the information management. The small town revitalization, which has changed the faces of many municipalities and brought great fortune to citizens who are now employed in the retail business, will now be implemented in 16 municipalities. That's why we needed to put it as part of the BFI and present it at Treasury so that we can get enough allocation on the work that we're doing. We needed to facelift those rural village towns. These include Ndabankulu, Ndlambe, Inokumgijima, Mnuma, KSD, particularly Mkanduli, part Mbashe, Kaukama, Engcobo, Great Kai, Amahlati, Makana, Insika Yetu, Emalahleni, Ngoshwa, Sundays River. Excellent work that has been done in Kirkwood. You must go and see what's happening there, as well as Port St. John's. I know there is a really call and plead for Kobo, and I'm really considering that, as well as in Bizana. Beyond 2024-2025, small town revitalization will be reviewed, and a business case will be developed, including renewed resource mobilization for STR. That includes the BFI I spoke about. Honorable Speaker, as a maturing democracy, we realize the collaboration and cooperation by the 3 spheres of government and stakeholders are vital for progress As such, Office of the Premier continues to facilitate a culture of working together through the district development model, government outreach programs, and commemorative programs. The aim is to ensure improved public participation and community engagement. We are ensuring enhanced and proactive government communication based on the voices of the people, while improving our communication strategy to showcase the Eastern Cape's achievement, improve perception of government, and promote civic pride. Support for traditional leaders will be coordinated with the Investigative Committee on Traditional Leadership Disputes, ensuring recognition and integration into governance processes. But apart from that, Honorable Speaker, we are continuing to work with traditional leaders to address the death of initiates in our province and on the issue of land tenure, which hampers development, particularly in the eastern part of the province. Honorable Speaker, building a state capability remains the main enabling factor to drive key government-wide programs. Our focus is on medico-legal and litigation management, professionalization, integrity management, compliance with legislation, and turnaround plans in the education and health sectors. In the SOPA 2024, we announced that there is a marked improvement in women in SMS at 62% current baseline, and persons with disability, 46% current baseline. We aim to achieve employment equity targets with significant improvement in women in senior management and persons with disabilities. The institutional development, which includes function shifts, rationalizing public entities, and organizational development to enhance efficiency and responsive, will be coordinated. In 2023-2024, the Office of the Premier reached a milestone of 1,535 sites connected to the 2,700. In the 2024-2025, the department will roll out broadband 2.0. That we mean increase more capacity, the bandwidth, that is the megabits per second, which will see the rollout of 1,032 sites connected to broadband. We will also promote the uptake connectivity by more health facilities and schools for improved services. We still need a much more integration here, because the work that is being done by SA Connect is at a lesser capacity to work that we're doing as Office of the Premier in terms of the broadband rollout. So it's very difficult now to integrate that kind of work. We're talking to the national ministers on our best. We've lifted that kind of quality based on that megabits per second. That is the quality, the speed that you need to actually access your internet. The Office of the Premier aims to improve the back office organizational environment by striving for human resources maturity and financial sustainability. The Office of the Premier remains committed to ensuring clean financial and ICT governance and ensuring collaboration with the Risk Management Committee, the ICT Governance Committee, and Audit Committee to enhance organizational maturity. I know Auditor General has raised quite critical issues around this issue of broadband, because if we roll out broadband and departments are not connecting the broadband, Auditor General wants to declare that as a fruitless expenditure. We have serious argument around that, as well as this issue of the ICT. With everybody having a license with Microsoft, it's not something that should have been happening like that. We are working on that in centralizing that part. But also the kind of performance indicators where we rely on information that comes on department. That has actually put us at the back foot in terms of the Auditor General's kind of finding this year. The department will also focus on working towards ensuring that 20% of the employees in OTP are 35 years old. The department will prioritize preferential procurement, focusing on beneficiation targets of 40% women and 7% persons with disability. We must ensure that the Office of the Premier's budget supports the idea of transformation. The department will launch the first chapter of the change management program with the 7th term. We will ensure processes of improved staff engagement, induction programs, skills development, organizational wellness, and the fostering of labor space. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker, this budget and policy statement is a clarion call for all stakeholders to collaborate in building the Eastern Cape we want, an inclusive, equitable, and prosperous one that offers the boundless opportunities to its people. We commit to lead with excellence and fulfill the promise of a brighter future for all our citizens. As we submit this annual performance plan to the legislature for appropriation and approval, we renew our commitment to transparency, accountability, and excellence in government. I urge honorable members to support this plan, recognizing the shared responsibility we hold in shaping the future of our beloved province. Let us embark on this transformative journey with hope, resilience, and a shared vision for a brighter, more equitable future for all. Allow me, Honorable Speaker, to present these annual reports, operational plans, and EXEC, as well as the Office of the Premier, nazo ndizibeka apha, including the policy speech, kwabo bengekakwazi ufunda apha, bakwazi ufunda apha, nazo nayo. Sigqithile thina sikwi-5th Industrial Revolution. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Premier. Thank you for that extra 6 minutes. Honorable members, the policy speech and the table documents stand referred to the Portfolio Committee responsible for the subject matter of the vote in terms of Rule 161, subsection 2. I will now ask the Secretary to read the third order of the day.
Tabling of vote number 3, health.
We call upon the Honorable MEC of Health, Honorable MEC Kapa. You can take the podium. Your 20 minutes starts now. Premier wants to add his 6 minutes to you, but unfortunately, it's not allowed in terms of the rules.
Honorable Speaker, the Premier, Leader of Government Business, members of the Executive Council, Chief Whip and Deputy Chief Whip, Chair of Chairs and Deputy Chair of Chair, Chairperson of the Health Portfolio Committee, honorable members of the Eastern Cape Legislature, DG, Head of Departments, distinguished guests, labor, organized labor, more importantly, the people of Eastern Cape, good morning. It gives me a great pleasure and honor, members, and the people of Eastern Cape to table the policy speech in the 7th administration during the Women's Month. I stand before you as a woman charged with the responsibility of ensuring we deliver the best possible health care to the people of this province in a month and that we celebrate women. I am conscious that I stand on the shoulders of giants like the international icon Florence Nightingale and our own Cecilia Makiwane, the very first black registered nurse in South Africa, and an activist. According to many sources, including the World Health Organization, the empowerment of women is key to improving women's health across Africa. We need to create a health system that is more sensitive and responsible to the specific health needs of women. To do this, the participation of women in all levels of health system, from patients to frontline workers to physicians, and is also essential. In this policy speech for the 2024-2025 financial year, we shall attempt to give account to the great work done by the Department of Health and also reflect on the significant strides made during the past 30 years of democracy in building effort, including women in our communities. Honorable Speaker, from onset, let me be bold to assert that for the 2024-2025 financial year, our theme is We Care, Siyakhathala. As the government led by the ANC, we are emboldened by the overwhelming majority trust of the Buma colony population as they returned the oldest political party in Africa to govern in the Eastern Cape for another 5 years. As the 7th administration, we will continue where the 6th administration left off and ensure improved quality healthcare services are delivered to our people. Madam Speaker, the country has undergone massive transformation in the health sector. In 1997, the ANC, in its attempt in trying to amalgamate the health system, It passed a white paper on transformation of health services in South Africa. From the beginning, the ANC government was tasked with a huge task of amalgamating 3 separate administrations providing health care in Eastern Cape. That is the Eastern Cape Administration, Ciskei and Transkei, into one single Department of Health. As a result, 8 district offices were established across the province. This was done to entrench local accountability, unlike the previous systems of governance by the apartheid and the homeland government. We also successfully amalgamated 4 nursing colleges, that is Ciskei, Transkei, Frere, and the Eastern Cape College of Nursing, into one single nursing college called Lilita, meaning light. Madam Speaker, we have made great strides towards realizing the 1955 Freedom Charter version of the Freedom Charter version of preventative health scheme, which will be run by the state. It further stated that free medication and hospitalization shall be provided for all the people, especially women and young women. This year, President Cyril Ramaphosa signed into law the NHI bill, which will level the playing fields and ensure everyone has access to the same level of care, regardless of their station in life. This will be done through the national health coverage. Honorable members, the universal health coverage is not a new concept, nor specific to South Africa. Our chosen vehicle to universal health coverage is an HNI. Many countries around the world are implementing similar structure to provide affordable and accessible quality health care. We applaud the great work executed and dedication displayed by the members of the 6th Eastern Cape Provincial Legislature for facilitating the NHI bill participation. For the NHI fund to be effective, the entire ecosystem will undergo reforms. These reforms will include integration of private and public sector to make both sectors more effective and efficient. The Act will be implemented in 2 phases. Phase 1, which commenced in 2023, will continue for a period of 3 years until 2026. Phase 2 will commence in 2026 and will run for 3 years. We do want to assure our people that we will implement NHI. Let me repeat, we want to assure our people that we will implement NHI. Our goal remains to improve access to quality care and to protect all citizens from financial hardships when accessing health facilities. Madam Speaker, the implementation of NHI is anchored on the re-engineering of primary health care, which is delivered through 5 streams: the ward-based primary health care outreach teams, district clinic special teams, integrated health programs, central chronic medicine dispensing and distribution, contracting of general practitioners, ideal facility realization and maintenance. For the provision of primary health care services through the ward-based primary health care teams, the department since 2019 increased the number of community health workers from 3,519 to 4,373 in 2023-2024 financial year. Honorable members, in the past 5 years, the Wapakot program provided community outreach services to a total of 5,309,262 households. In addition, the Wapakot teams traced 245,639 clients who missed or defaulted their TB or for HIV treatment. Our primary health care is one of the best in the country, and most of the provinces are benchmarking in this province. So we do not need Section 100. This financial year, the department will continue to provide Wapakot activities, which will focus on strengthening pregnancy testing in communities, screening for diseases of lifestyle like diabetes and hypertension, tracing those lost to follow up after enrolling in our programs of health programs and encouraging adherence to chronic treatment that aims to prevent the progression of diseases. Madam Speaker, one of the gallant fighters in the struggle, the late O.R. Tambo, once was spot on when he said, the children, open quote, the children of any nation are its future. A country, a person that does not value its youth and the children does not deserve future. These words continue to motivate us to ensure that children get improved primary health care services in schools through the integrated school health program. The department has gradually increased the number of professional nurses from 82 in 2019 to 176 in 2023-2024 financial year. As a result of these resources, 46,404 grade 1 learners and 46,451 grade 8 learners were screened and managed for conditions that, if they were not identified and attended to, were going to have a negative impact on teaching and learning for these learners. A total of 234,233 grade 5 girls were vaccinated against the human papillomavirus since 2019. This is an important vaccine to protect young girls from developing cervical cancer when they become sexually active. The department is implementing the program with sister departments such as Department of Education and Social Development. Honorable members, to further improve and shorten time spent in our health facilities by our patients, the department is implementing a central chronic medicine dispensing and distribution called CCMD program. This program is a flagship aimed to reduce patient numbers at our facilities by providing stable chronic patients their medicine at pickup points closer to where they live and work. The active clients in our CCTM registers across 775 health facilities in the province increased from 335,481 in March 2023 to 419 in December 2023. This is an increase of 83,789 patients collecting their medicine from conveniently located points in the province. We encourage the communities to register on this program. We intend to increase this number to 445,500 patients this year. We care siyakhathala ngempilo yabantu bakuthi. We have consciously invested in our health infrastructure with a few increase access to healthcare as well as improve outcomes and experience in our communities and staff in our facilities. In the past 30 years, the Eastern Cape Department of Health invested over 30 billion to improve infrastructure across the province. Various facilities at different levels of the healthcare have benefited from this investment, with 106 primary healthcare facilities improved, 30 community health centers, 40 district hospitals, and 8 regional and tertiary hospitals were improved. Government invested around 650 million in a modern Sipetu district hospital with a much desired staff accommodation to attract healthcare professionals to the beautiful but remote rural area of Ndabankulu. A total of 30 primary healthcare facilities were upgraded to community health centers, thereby providing 24-hour service to our people, fully equipped with a trauma service accessible in all districts. In our effort in ensuring that merged structures were a thing of the past, we succeeded in eradicating 60% of merged healthcare facilities in the past 30 years. Abantu basemahlubini, eZabalaza, iSikhoba, eGcebe, Kwenkwane, Clinic kunye nezinye indawo singangqina uba zithi ziyayazi le nto ndithetha ngayo. The 6 community health facilities that have elements of mud constructed materials and which have been included in the 3 infrastructure plan are Tsomo, Lilinge, Lower Dimane, Pilani, Moltino, Town Clinic, Balfour Clinic in Amatole, currently under construction, and the remaining 5 are at the last stage of planning with the construction to commence this financial year. Greenville, St. Lucy's, Islimele, and Pilisweni, Imjanyane Hospital are at various stages of planning. Inesinite and Lady Grey hospitals are currently under construction. Imadwaleni, Tulele are also under construction. The new Tebe clinic, which will include accommodation and an EMS base, was advertised on the 26th of July. The contractor is expected to be on site by the end of this year. Madam Speaker, according to the Stats South Africa, non-communicable diseases continue to outstrip the infectious diseases in South Africa. A huge number of deaths is due to diabetes, cardiovascular disease, including strokes. Cancer has been rising to epidemic levels. These developments can be attributed to urbanization, social determinants of health, risk behavior such as tobacco use, harmful use of alcohol, unhealthy diets, and lack of physical activities. Siyanikuthaza ukuba ke ni exercise ukuze nibe healthy. These developments can be attributed. In the last year, in the 6th administration, the department initiated 44,046 clients on diabetes and hypertension treatment. In the year ahead, a planned intervention will focus on ongoing health promotion and early childhood and prevention of illness at all community level in partnership with business and community structures. Honorable members, the department will focus in the upgrading of 72-hour mental health observation units at selected facilities to align with the basic minimum standards. The department will work with social development and other partners to strengthen support of community level, raising awareness on mental health issues and promoting mental well-being. Honorable members, we are very serious about creating positive environment where South Africa enjoy living healthy and lead a productive lives. The government of the ANC is now implementing the UNAIDS 95 HIV strategy, meaning 95% of people living with HIV knowing their status, 95% of people living with HIV who know their status are on antiretroviral therapy. 95% of people living with HIV on antiretroviral therapy achieve a viral suppression. In pursuing this, pursuing the first 95, during the 2023-2024 financial year, the department tested 819,000 people, up from 76%
Honorable
to
member,
yes.
please take note, you only have 5 minutes remaining.
Oh my God.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I have noted where you are in your policy speech and possibly just.
Okay, I'll try my level
Thank
best.
you. I will again remind you at 2 minutes. You may
Okay.
continue.
Honorable members, we are faced with a big challenge of teenage pregnancy. During the 2023-2024 financial year, 18,333 girls aged between 10 and 19 years gave birth in our facility. Already this year, 4,055 young girls have given birth at public health facility. This is a societal issue and it needs all of us. A part of our interventions is an establishment of youth zones in 513 across the province in trying to make sure that we provide conducive environment for our young people and young girls to be able to get a comprehensive health and family planning. One of the pillars of effective health system is an availability of medicines. There is no health program that can be successfully implemented without availability of cost-effective medicines. The department allocates almost 2 billion for the procurement of medicines and surgical surgeons annually. Medicines available have been under immense strain due to the international and external constraints, such as the impact of the Russia-Ukraine war, as well as the Israel and Palestine war. So it is important that when you support Israel, you must know that you are affecting us as a department. The latter has made it difficult for the department to pay suppliers of essential medicines on time, resulting into the suspending of departmental accounts. However, the department has worked with the major suppliers of medicine and reached an agreement to ensure an availability of supplies as we manage the cash flow challenge through the integrated financial sustainability. Madam Speaker, as a rural province where more than 90% of population relies on the public sector for their health needs, the
You now have
department,
2 minutes remaining.
the department has ensured that our ambulances fleet is made available. As it was mentioned by the Premier, that we have sought more than 100 ambulances, and we have tried to upgrade them into 4x4s so that they can match up with our terrain. Honorable members, the department has been grappling with the medical legals, as mentioned earlier by the Premier, and as a department we have a clear strategy in dealing with this, and we are hoping and pinning our hopes on the Noila case that is on appeal that we won, so that we can turn the situation. Let me come to the conclusion, Honorable Madam Speaker. We are committed in stabilizing the department with the Executive Intervention Department of Health. We commit to stabilize critical leadership position of Chief Financial Officer, a Chief Executive Officer, as well as other critical posts, so that we bring stability in the department. Hence, the Premier has highlighted earlier that the HOD is back to the department. I want also to acknowledge the former MEC, MEC Meth, and other MECs for the good work they have done and making sure that they bring the Department of Health into a better position. Let me then, in conclusion, Honorable Speaker, hereby table an Eastern Cape Department of Health budget allocation, annual performance plan, operational plan, a service delivery improvement plan for 2024-2025 financial year for the consideration and approval by this August House. Ndiyabulela kakhulu. Mabaphile abantu.
Thank you so much, Honorable MEC.
Nazi, here are the documents. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable members, the policy speech and the table documents stand referred to the Portfolio Committee, responsible for the subject matter of the vote in terms of Rule 161, subsection 2. I will now ask the Secretary to read is it the fourth order? Yes.
Fifth order. Fifth order of the day.
Fourth order.
Fifth order of the day. It's number E. Fifth order. Tabling of vote number 4, social development.
I call upon a member of the Executive Council, Honorable MEC Fanta, to table the Department of Social Development to present her 2020 or 25 policy speech in terms of Rule 202, subsection 3. Your 20 minutes starts now.
Enkosi somlomo, inkulumbuso yophondo ehloniphekileyo, amalungu endlu yowiso-mthetho ahloniphekileyo, iinkokheli zendlu yenkosi, abefundisi bemvaba ngemvaba, zidwesha nani zidwangube, umntu wonke wempuma Kapa liphela. Indwendwe zonke esizimemileyo singu-social development, siyabulisa sithi kuni molweni. Honorable Speaker, it is a great honor to address this House as we usher in the 7th administration, which represents a renewed hope for a better life for the people of Eastern Cape. It is exactly 30 years ago, disenfranchised South Africans cast their votes for the first time and elected a democratic government that would carry a mandate of delivering a better life for all. The outcomes of the recent general elections are an indication that our people need improved and comprehensive service delivery. Therefore, the 7th administration has a mammoth task of continuing to turn the tide. The department will continue to accelerate the implementation
the commitments contained in this budget and policy speech to improve access to social services for communities still faced with prevailing social ills. Somlomo linene elokuba umkhulu umsebenzi osele wenziwe ukuphucula impilo zabantu beliphondo, kodwa kumele siqinise amaphulo okulwa intlupheko ingakumbi echaphazela abantwana. Siphinde siqiniseke ukuba abantu bayakwazi ukuzimela ngokwabo. The Eastern Cape communities are still faced with an overwhelming task to end gender-based violence and femicide, which has been correctly termed as the second pandemic. Given the intricacy of challenges facing vulnerable groups, the department has reconfigured its operation to be better able to address challenges facing our communities, leaving no one behind. This policy and budget speech will demonstrate how the Department of Social Development has continuously followed that path that seeks to ensure provision of comprehensive social services against vulnerable groups and poverty to as many deserving people as possible. Sikutsho oko silandele ekhondweni lenkulumbuso yeliphondo njengokuba ivakalisile mhla bivula indlu yowisomthetho kutsha nje eNtabankulu. It's time the Eastern Cape time to thrive. Honourable Speaker and members, we are mindful of the fact that societies thrive when there is a common purpose and shared values. Therefore, we commend the role of our partners who contributed immensely to the revitalization of our mandate, and we will continue to strengthen our relationship with the various role players to mobilize resources for the benefit of society at large. Before I go into the business of the department, I must mention that women also played a major role in dismantling the apartheid regime and continue to play leading roles in building democratic South Africa we live in today. Ndingatanasa ndiqhayise ndithi umzekelo ngoku sinayo umaya Lindelwa oyi-Chief Justice othe appoint okokuqala olinindi okhola intambo. Singatsho senze nomzekelo ongumama wethu uTsakani Maluleka oyi-Auditor General young woman okokuqala. As we gather here today, we stand on the shoulders of significant anniversaries that hold profound meaning for our nation and the ongoing struggle for equality and justice. This week, we'll commemorate 68 years, the remarkable March of 1956, led by our forebears. This courageous act of defiance and solidarity laid the foundation for the rights and freedoms that we enjoy today. It is a pivotal moment that not only highlighted the resilience of women, but also paved the way for future generations to challenge oppression and strive for equality in all spheres of life. Additionally, 2024 marks the 70th anniversary of the Women's Charter, a groundbreaking document that articulated aspirations, rights, and needs of women across our nation. The Charter has served as a guiding principle in our ongoing struggle for gender equality and social justice. It has inspired policies and initiatives aimed at empowering women, addressing gender-based violence, and promoting equal opportunities and education in the workforce. Initiatives focused on women's economic empowerment have gained momentum, providing women with access to education, training, and resources to start their own businesses. This has contributed to a greater financial independence and economic stability for many women in their families. Let us honor the legacy of our forebears by continuing their fight for justice and equality. As we celebrate the milestone of 1956 March and Women's Charter, let us recommit ourselves to the principles of empowerment, equity, and solidarity. Together we can build a future where dreams and aspirations of all women are realized. At this point, allow me, Madam Speaker, to highlight the key priorities of 2024-2025 financial year, which aligned to the provincial integration areas. Priority number 1, strengthen the provision of child care protection services. Honourable Speaker, families continue to be exposed to various levels of vulnerable, leading families as Kregekle and unit that means remain a critical focus and area needs immediate interventions. As families are characterized by conflict, instability, child abuse, absent parents, absent fathers, strained relationships, and inadequate resources that negatively affect families' structures and roles. Family preservation programs, Honorable Speaker, in this financial year, 2024-25, the department will continue to render comprehensive basket of services for families, further contributing towards the ex-minors workers intervention program. It will provide families preservation services to 24,816 families members to strengthen and prevent vulnerability within families, leading to stable and well-functioning families. In strengthening the capacity of families, 20,347 families members will participate in parenting programs to empower parents with parenting skills and provide support to one another. It will further ensure reunification of 389 families members that were removed, separated, displaced from their families and communities. The budget set aside for this is 13.2 million. Care and protection services to children. Department will reach 28,482 people through implementation of prevention and early intervention programs, responding to escalating scourge of child abuse through provision of awareness and therapy programs. In this current financial year, 50,559 children in need of care and protection will be placed in foster care with court orders. This will ensure that they enjoy their rights to a family as enshrined in the Constitution and legally protected with access to foster care grant, enabling them to meet their financial needs. Xa abantwana bephumile phansi kwale nkqubo yohoyo ngabazali abangababo i-foster care bafakwa phansi kwenkqubo kazimele geqe kuqiniseka amathuba emfundo, ingqeqesho noqeqesho lwezakhono. Le nkqubo izawuqiniswa ngakumbi kulo nyaka mali yokuba abantwana abakwi-foster grant bangabi ngabantwana abangabi nabani abadingayo kodwa baphume nezakhono kwezamali sibanika zona. The budget set aside for that is 66 million. Community-based prevention and intervention programs. Madam Speaker, the department will implement community-based prevention and early intervention programs as stipulated in Chapter 8 and 14 of the Children's Act that are in Resiha sites to enhance its efforts of protecting children and providing support to families. The department will continue to build resilience and agility within communities to promote sustainable livelihoods. We have set a budget for 29 million for that program. Social behavior change programs. Sihlalo when siyowisa umthetho ekwakhweni intsapho eziliqilima nakusisombulweni ingxaki zokungaphatheki kakuhle ezikhokela ekukhululekweni kwabantwana. Isebe lizimisele inkqubo zokuguqula ukuziphatha kolutsha. Umama wakaHelper uyakhala ukuthi there's learner pregnancy, there's teenage pregnancy. Social behavior change programs ezinkqubo zenzelwe ukuba zibe liqonga lengxoxo ngemiba yezentlalo malunga nesifo sentsholongwane ugawulayo ukukhusela abantwana, ukusetyenziswa kweziyobisi, impatho yabazali nogonyamelo oludibene nesini. Oko kwenzelwa ukuziphatha kakuhle nokufunda ukuqiqa ukuze uphile ubomi obusempilweni. I-department will continue to implement integrated interventions that will contribute towards promotion of health, prevention, and protective behaviors for children. The commitment to collaborate with Department of Education and Health ensures joint responsibility in facilitating integration school health program, reaching all learners in school. In addition, will fund 14 organizations to implement social behavior change program in all 8 districts. In partnership with Department of Health and United Nations Population Fund, the department will continue to promote awareness in all 8 districts to improve access, utilization of reproductive health services by young people. The program will expand to the following areas that were not covered, which is Ndlambe, Makhanda, Ntabankulu, Mzimvubu, Nelson Mandela, Walter Sisulu, Emalahleni nalapha BCM. The budget set aside for that is 17.5. HIV and AIDS program set aside 21 million for that. Social relief of distress program is likwanazo inkqubo zokuhlangula kwimicelimingeni kumakhaya nakubantu abaphantse baxhwaleka isi-social relief of distress ke iyasincedisa kakhulu siyibonile isenzeka izinto BCM nasebhayi sinazo ke izinto zoba sincedise pha Buffalo i-budget set aside for that is 43.1 million. Priority number 2, strengthening prevention in early intervention programs on gender-based violence and femicide. Substance abuse, prevention, treatment and rehabilitation. Somlom, iziyobisi notywala zezona ngxaki ezikhokela ekuqhwaleleni kwentlalo, uqoqosho nempilo yoluntu. Ukusetyenziswa kweziyobisi kuchaphazela wonke umuntu kwentlalo yethu. The Eastern Cape is faced with social behavior challenges manifesting in the form of underage drinking, the use of alcohol at a young age. It is not only a problem for some families, but it is also becoming a provincial burden, particularly among school-going learners and children. Siyibonile ke enyobeni bayenze ntoni. During 2024-25 financial year, the department will partner with private treatment centers to improve access to treatment services by indigenous services users. The department will remain steadfast in our commitment to eliminate the scourge of substance abuse in our communities. The budget set for that is 12.4 million. Crime prevention and support, sinayi programs ndazopha, 2.9 million sibek aside for that. Victim empowerment, somlomo bekle urhulumente wenza konke okusemandleni akhe ukulwa ugonyamelo ngokwesini kodwa nangoku njalo iziganeko zalo mkhuba zithe gqolo ukufunquka. Ndiphakathi kwethu namhlanje sinaye umntana somlomo nawe premier esimsave osimazi ba wayese VP kodwa she called us esemakhiwana esoyika kakhulu wayinayo imibono eyayisoyikisa. She called us, fortunately our safe home in Nelson Mandela. When we dig deep to her, sifana siba ukuthi umntana ebefunde eForte egqibezela degree yakhe, unfortunately could not proceed because of bargain. Yoba she was abused by her biological father ukhona apha endlini andizomphakamisa for her protection. Kodwa the safe home esinayo eBhayi uMamodola ndingamphakamisa abone ukuba that safe home iyawenza umsebenzi. La mntana uphilile, she passed her Bachelor of Law degree yakhe. Mamodola now ke uMamodola la safe home yethu iyasincedisa kakhulu. Uphaya kuye umntana wathi wamanager wabuyela esikolweni wayipasa degree yakhe uyagraduate ngoSeptember waba nethamsanqa kaThixo wawufumana nomsebenzi kwaseForte une-internship ngoku. We have set a budget for as a program the 39.2 million.
Honorable MEC, you have 5 minutes remaining. Yes.
Injalo nalento. Sinazo job through expanded public works program esizaba nazo kulo nyaka 3646 opportunities through EPW project across the social sector to augment its capacity delivery. Sizabathatha bandisiye emaphethelweni masitsho sithi soon sizakusayina a memorandum of understanding with military of our country, SANDF. Siyubonile umsebenzi omhle ebesiwe nawo kuCentane. Bane 5-year program abazawungehamba kunye nathi nayo yokushintsha ubomi babantu bakuthi. Sinaye phakathi kwethu somlomo nawe premier uBrigadier General Mdutywa. Sizawusayina memorandum of understanding yoba sisebenze kunye. Ndingathi naxa ndigobhoza ndihleba ndithi ukwecala le-health yena ungogqirha uyinento yonke pha. Abantu bethu pha kuCentane ezalali zonke kweza ward bebetestwa everything. Betransportwe to esibhedlele abaneneeds ngamajoni omkhonto amajoni ezwela kuwethu. Masitsho futhi ukuthi ke isibhedlele apha the military base hospital iyavulwa kulo nyaka. Uphu general nankuya. Basigqibile isibhedlele pha samanjoni sizawutsho siyobalekela pha asizoya Pretoria nathi uthe samkelekile bazama ifurniture ngoku sizawusebenza nabo ku-issue ye-boy children because the issue of our country is the problem of boy child. So le memorandum of understanding sizaba nayo pha siqala laa nto ndandikhe ndayihleba kwa-Premier yoba siyayifuna into little bit autocracy kule nto yo-boy children yoba after grade 12 bakhe bahambe bongena pha emjonini siyayisayina ke loo nto but iyakwazi ukwenzeka. Siyabulela kakhulu nazo zonke ipartners zethu ezikhona zethu namhlanje ukuba zizo-honorisha this policy speech kodwa inelishwa le nto yoba the 20 minutes Premier ne-Speaker incinci kakhulu. Ukuba ndigqibezela basibulele kakhulu kubantu abasixhasayo zilapha ipartners zethu ezisixhasa ku-program zethu esinazo siyabulela kakhulu. The government owes the popular mandate it received from many ordinary people since 1994. We have come so far, we have seen so much, but there's much more to
2 minutes remaining, Honorable MEC.
Moving this province forward. Let us double the effort in the quest to fulfill the commitment we have made to our people, that of improving their lives of the better. That is a moment to fulfill the commitment. Social development, uyayibeka policy speech, uyayibeka annual operational plan, uyayibeka the annual performance plan. Enkosi kakhulu.
Thank you so much, Honorable MEC Fanta. The policy speech and all the tabled documents stand referred to the Portfolio Committee responsible for the subject matter of the vote in terms of Rule 161, subsection 2. I will now ask the Secretary to read the fifth order of the day.
Tabling of vote number 5, Public Works and Infrastructure.
I call upon the member of the Executive Council responsible for the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, MEC Mani Lusiti, to present a 24-25 policy speech in terms of Rule 202. The 20 minutes starts now, Honorable MEC.
Thank you very much, Speaker, and greetings to yourself, the Deputy Speaker, the Premier, the members of the Executive, members of the Provincial Legislature, the DG and all the HODs, all officials, inkosi zezwe lakowethu. We have our social partners here, greetings to them, and all other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Speaker, it is indeed a great honor and with a deep sense of appreciation that I stand before this House today to present the policy and the budget speech for the Department of Public Works Infrastructure for the year 24-25. Really, this occasion signifies a milestone as it is the first speech following the recent national and provincial elections, a period that has once again reaffirmed our democratic values and the collective voice of our people. The recent elections have been a testament to the enduring spirit of our democracy. The people have resolutely spoken through their votes and their message is clear. They have entrusted us once more with the mandate to lead, to serve, and to deliver on the promise of the better life for all. And as we reflect on this mandate, we are reminded of the message from the President Cyril Ramaphosa's opening of Parliament address, which reiterated our commitment that, I quote, "Our people have renewed their faith in our democracy. They have demonstrated their belief in the power of their vote to bring about change. We must now, more than ever, work together to fulfill the promise of a better life for all," close quote. Honorable Speaker, this encapsulates the urgency with which we must respond to the demands of our people. We have heard the President's call for an improved infrastructure, inclusive economy, job creation, efficient service delivery, and socio-economic transformation. It is our duty to act with determination and integrity to meet this expectation. It is worth noting that as we close the 6th term, there's an emphasis on the coordination of infrastructure development, which remains at the center of the national and provincial commitments. The Department of Public Works and Infrastructure will continue to deliver infrastructure projects in a manner that responds to service delivery needs, a means to improve the lives of our people. As I deliver this policy and budget speech in this August House, it coincides with the commemoration of the 1956 National Women's March as we commemorate this year's Provincial Women's Month, which is themed Counter in Accelerating Gender Equality Through Economic Empowerment. We celebrate the country's 30 years milestone of democracy by paying tribute to women who fought against oppression and discrimination. South African women have been at the forefront of the liberation struggle, playing a pivotal role in the fight against apartheid and pursuit of freedom and equality. Their contributions were not only limited to the domestic sphere, but extended to active participation in political movements and resistance activities. As August is declared a Women's Month, we therefore acknowledge the significant role played by women in the struggle, saluting Mamu Megi Khesha, Mamu Lilian Ngoyi, Me Albertina Sisulu, Mamu Ruth Mumpati, Mamu Helen Joseph, Sophie Dubrain, and many other heroines who contributed to the struggle for the attainment of our freedom and democracy. The role played by these heroines reaffirms the importance of addressing the embedded patriarchy, systematic gender inequality, and discrimination that persists in our society. The struggle for liberation by South African women was intertwined in the fight against the three interconnected contradictions: racial oppression, gender inequality, and socio-economic exploitation. The racial oppression under the apartheid regime systematically disenfranchised and marginalized Black South Africans, with women bearing the brunt of this discrimination, both in public and private sphere. Gender inequality further compounded their plight as patriarchal norms and laws restricted their rights and freedoms. Women had to contend with systematic barriers that limited their access to education, employment, and political participation, reinforcing their subjugation. Hence, we must continue to work tirelessly to create a society where women and girls have equal opportunities so as to thrive and reach their full potential. Another manifestation of patriarchal relations of power resulted in the socio-economic exploitation, which saw women being disproportionately affected by poverty and economic disenfranchisement. The apartheid system relegated Black women to the lowest paying jobs, often in domestic work or manual labor, perpetuating a cycle of poverty and dependence. Honorable members, as the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, we resonate with Mamume Gikhesha's book, My Life in the Struggle, which narrates experiences, trials, and tribulations faced by women in the context of gender-based discrimination and inequality during the struggle. In recognition of Mamume Gikhesha's sterling work in the liberation of this country, we believe as the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure that it is a befitting gesture to honor Mamume Gikhesha by renaming the Emaxesibeni office cluster to Magdalene Khesha Office Precinct. Igama lamakhosikazi malibongwe. Honorable Speaker, our efforts to encourage more young women to enter the built environment are pursued through various initiatives. The department partakes in efforts to affirm the role of women in the construction sector. For instance, the department hosted a Women in Construction Summit in 2023. The summit sought to inspire emerging young companies in the industry who wanted to bolster their knowledge, hone their skills and advance their enterprises, and guide their businesses into the future. Going forward, the department will continue to have meaningful engagements with the formation of women in construction within our province. We have also demonstrated our commitment to gender equality by achieving a 60% representation of women in senior management. This is a vast improvement compared to the 38% at the beginning of the 6th term. We see this as a historic milestone for the department, which ought to be applauded and celebrated. Moreover, the department is intentional in its recruitment. targeting young people, people living with disabilities. And to date, we have achieved a 55 representation of youth and 1.9 representation of people living with disabilities. Honorable Speaker, the policy and the budget speech is presented at a time when our government is transitioning to the 7th term of administration, which is articulated by the Honorable Premier in his opening of the Eastern Cape Provincial Legislature address themed Eastern Cape's time to thrive is now, alleviates the imperatives of transformation, inclusive growth, investment, and alternative funding mechanisms, job creation, and good governance. The department will respond to these emerging policy priorities by focusing on the creating sustainable and quality work opportunities, strengthening transversal coordination of infrastructure, supporting our micro, small, and medium enterprises, and incorporating the integrated spatial development. As the department advances to the 7th term, we would like to reassure this House that we have taken into consideration the 8 provincial priorities that resonates with our mandate. Honorable members, the department continues to translate these provincial commitments to departmental interventions in line with these provincial priorities. The transformation agenda of being a nerve center for infrastructure delivery, coordination, and investment is being implemented in the 3 phases. Honorable Speaker, as this budget, as the 2024-25 budget allocation is aligned with the gender responsive planning, budgeting, monitoring, evaluation, and auditing framework, which seeks to strengthen the mainstreaming of gender perspectives to achieve gender equality and empowerment, guided by the department's beneficiation strategy for designated groups that is aligned to the national and provincial instruments. The department is deliberate in strengthening the provincial infrastructure delivery through the transversal infrastructure coordination, and this function provides support, monitors, and reports the performance of infrastructure projects for 4 departments: human settlements, the Department of Education, Health, Transport. Moreover, the department, together with other coordinating departments, forms part of the PICC, and this governance structure seeks to effectively utilize and solidify the provincial responses to infrastructure development. This highlights achieved through the transversal infrastructure coordination include improvements yielded by these 4 departments in terms of the overall adherence to infrastructure prescripts, expenditure patterns, and detecting early warning signals, all of which resulted on improved infrastructure performance in the province. Honorable members, it is significant to also mention that all new buildings constructed by the department comply with the access norms and standards for people living with disabilities. As we usher the 7th term of administration, the department will adopt a new approach that enhances not only the construction of offices, but also introduces the mixed mode development model, which seeks to integrate developments such as the integrated human settlements and urban regeneration. The department has completed the following 3 cluster offices during the 6th term to the value of 390 million. The Tambo Office Park, Tobile Bam, Bathandwandondo Office Park. Madam Speaker, in the 24-25 financial year, the total budget allocated for this portfolio was 230 million, and the department will complete the construction of the following capital infrastructure projects in the 24-25 financial year: Imkanduli cluster offices in the OR Tambo district, Makanda Artisan Training Center in Sarabatman, the Dr. Da offices in Namakwe in Amatole, Emalahleni Service Office in Krisani District Municipality. And the following planned maintenance project for the prestige services will be completed: the renovation of the Provincial Legislature, the conversion of 3 ministerial complex houses into apartments to accommodate additional members of the legislature. The following capital infrastructure projects are under construction: the Ematlesibeni cluster offices in Alfonso, which is a one-stop shop approach that seeks to centralize service delivery as well as improve the province's operational efficiency by consolidating the scattered provincial government departments within the boundaries of the province. And these cluster offices in Ematlesibeni will accommodate 10 provincial government departments. Further, the Ematlesibeni office park will stimulate economic growth with 600 million investment, drive regional development by improving infrastructure, job creation, and enhancing social amenities. communities. This will include the implementation of a mixed mode development model as part of the building sustainable integrated human settlements. The project is split into 3 phases, and the current construction of phase 1, Block A, has created 30 work opportunities, yielded 20 apprenticeship opportunities, and 10 million has been committed to support MSMEs, students, graduates, and artisans. It is also worth noting, honorable members, that phase 1, Block A, will be completed within the next 24 months and will accommodate the Department of Human Settlements and Transport. The Mkanduli cluster offices in the OR Tambo district municipality have an investment of 100 million to accommodate 4 government departments, which are the Department of Social Development, Rural Development and Agrarian Reform, COGTA, and then progress on the project is at 65% and will be completed within this financial year. The project has currently created 40 work opportunities, made available 20 apprenticeship opportunities, and benefited MSMEs. Now, as the implementing agent for other client department, this portfolio utilizes 90% internal capacity for professional services, thus saving client departments implementing agent fees. The Bishop Precinct in the Buffalo City Metropolitan Municipality remains a priority for us, as we're still committed in the implementation of the Bishop Precinct, which is currently in the planning stages. The development of the precinct will change the outlook of Bishop as a town and contribute to its socio-economic growth through integration of human settlements, inner city, and commercial development. To date, the department has concluded the feasibility and value for money assessment, which confirms that the project is indeed affordable. We are on course to ensure that construction will commence. The Department of Health portfolio. The Department of Public Works and Infrastructure is dedicated to building and maintaining robust infrastructure projects, particularly in the healthcare sector, in collaboration with the Department of Health as an implementing agent for the department. Our aim is to deliver quality health facilities. In the 24-25 financial year, a budget of 361 million has been allocated for planning and implementation of the health infrastructure projects. Honourable Speaker, I'm proud to announce that several key projects
Honourable
that will
MEC,
be
just note you have 5 minutes remaining.
Thank you, Speaker, will be implemented to enhance the public healthcare infrastructure. Moreover, the Department of Health portfolio will complete the following capital projects: Balfour Clinic, the All Saints, Taylor Bequest, and Matubeni Clinic. And for the Department of Education, the portfolio will complete the 6 capital projects in the 24-25, Mhlontlo, Phambili, Mzonsundu, Lincoln, Archerville, David Livingstone, and Battlestop. And then also the following projects are under construction: the Ado Primary School in Sarah Batman, Grahamstown Primary School, Bulelani Senior Secondary School, Upper Kochana Secondary School. Moreover, the department, in collaboration with the Department of Education and Social Development, will identify and release properties to contribute to the Early Childhood Development Program in the 24-25 financial year. Somlomo obekekileyo, in an effort to establish the ownership and the use of stand land and properties, the department has adjusted its original 4-year land survey plan to 2 years. Through this plan, 1,100 surveys have been completed. Notwithstanding the department's strides in transforming the property sector, it is worth mentioning that challenges encountered in our land and property portfolio, such as hijacking, vandalism, illegal occupation, and construction mafia. And with this regard to the construction mafia, which manifests as a syndicate that targets infrastructure projects by extorting funds from legitimately awarded contractors, the department will advocate for a multi-sectoral approach to work with municipalities, law enforcement agencies, traditional leaders, communities to curb these crimes. We are aware that these types of crime continue without stern action and consequences, and the province will be rendered lawless and anarchic. In our effort to address these criminal acts, the following interventions have been strengthened. Operation Bring Back, which is aimed at addressing the challenge of illegal occupation and hijacking of government properties. Operation Kusela, which will be at the forefront of protecting and safeguarding the state-owned properties by working closely with communities and municipalities. Operation ngqwalasela that will seek to fast-track the project completion and social facilitation that intends to minimize delays of project completion within the stipulated time and available budget. Honorable Speaker, it is worth mentioning that our relationship with the client departments continue to improve as we provide specialized professional and technical services in the implementation of infrastructural projects. In enhancing good client relations, the department will launch the Customer Business Call Center as an initiative to speed up the response rate to day-to-day maintenance requests. The call logging system will enable the department to track progress on queries logged and provide system-generated reports.
Honorable
This
MEC,
year-
you only have 2 minutes remaining.
Thank you, Speaker. This year, the department celebrated 20 years since the inception of EPWP, which has its origins in the Growth and Development Summit of 2003. Honorable members, it is pleasing to note that the Eastern Cape has been declared to be the second highest contributor to the creation of work opportunities nationally. And as we are aware that with the hosting of the launch of the EPWP Phase 5 in April, the main phase of Phase 5 is to repurpose the public employment and its future in South Africa. As we rebrand the EPWP program to focus on creating quality and sustainable work opportunities and service delivery so as to positively impact the lives of our people. As we prepare for the 7th term, the department will develop innovative job creation programs that will attract women, young people, persons with disabilities, and ensure optimal participation. Honorable Speaker, in the 6th term of office, the department supported ICDP by training and awarding the projects and facilitating access to finance. And to date, the department has awarded projects of up to 472 million. Now, in the 24-25 financial year, Madam Speaker, the department has set aside 6.5 million for the continuation of the external bursaries for the 99 internal bursaries of DPWI employees as an effort to affirm participation of young women in the built environment. And the department has offered external bursaries to 32 young women. Madam Speaker, as we conclude, the department notes that the allocated budget is far less than the funding required to address the increasing infrastructure demands. In response to this challenge, we have since reprioritized our budget, focusing more on improving the provisioning of core services in an efficient and effective manner in order to meaningfully contribute to economic growth of our province. We commit ourselves to conduct our business ethically, diligently, and observe the principle of good governance and the rule of law. We will join hands with stakeholders and strengthen government efforts to build the Eastern Cape we want without leaving anyone and no one, without leaving any place or no one behind. And in this financial year, we are taking bold strides towards women empowerment by recruiting 60 women into the ICDP program. Honorable Speaker,
Member,
we
can
want
you
to
conclude,
extend
please?
our appreciation to yourself, Honorable Speaker, the Executive Council and the Premier, and let me acknowledge the HOD, and I table the 2024 Policy and Budget Speech and the Annual Performance Plan and the Annual Operational Plan for the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you so much. And I can see that the Honorable MEC brought a delegation with there. They are sitting, I'm sure. There of young people. Honorable members, the policy speech and the table documents stand referred to the Portfolio Committee, responsible for the subject matter of the vote in terms of Rule 161, subsection 2. Honorable members, let's just proceed and then we can have a leisurely lunch instead of breaking now and coming back for just one tabling. I will ask the Secretary to read the 6th order of the day.
Tabling of vote number 6, education.
I call upon the MEC responsible for the Department of Education, MEC Gade, to present the 24-25 policy speech in terms of Rule 202, subsection 3. Your 20 minutes starts now, Honorable MEC.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Premier, Honorable Chief Whip, allow me to say your established protocol is observed. Honorable Speaker and Honorable Premier, unfortunately, we need a well-planned, structured, coordinated, systemic, a deliberate resource rupture in the schooling system in the country for us to guarantee the future of those that comes after us, and also to realize the objectives of the NDP. What then this rupture entails, Premier and Speaker. Speaker, the Eastern Cape Organic Mother Tongue Bilingual-based education model for teaching and learning in public schools in the country. The DPE saw the need to gradually implement the normalization of trans language, which allows the maintenance and the delayed transitions between African languages and English in the country, and equally allow the alignment of multilingual learning and multilingual assessments in the country. These are fundamental linguistic human rights that has not been seen ever since the dawning of the democracy in the country. The rapid assessment language research conducted by DPE and the NET identified the Eastern Cape province as a pillar and a gateway for this transformative agenda that the country has to pursue. Honorable Speaker, the focus schools, as referred as schools of specialization, a visible manifestation of this three-streamed model, and a legislative distinct category of public schools that cater for learners with identified talents, aptitudes in areas such as agriculture, maritime studies, and others. This assignment, the Department of Basic Education in the province has already started and implementing that project, Honorable Speaker. Along the lines with the sector framework, the skills for the challenging world, Honorable Speaker, the department has piloted the coding and robotics so that the learners and teachers could respond to the emerging technologies, artificial intelligence. As a direct response to that, in 2023 and 2024 financial year, 186 schools piloted coding and robotics in the province. The pilot schools across the 12 education districts included 25 grade R to grade 3 schools, 111 grade 4 to grade 7 schools, and also 50 grade R and grade 9 schools in the province, Honorable Speaker. As a direct response again to improving the access for all in the province, Honorable Speaker, we have employed 22 nurses in special schools with hostels to provide valuable services to learners. In addition to that, we have also appointed 28 specialists to those special schools, 122 support staff that has been appointed between 2023 December and 2024 February. Since then, Honorable Speaker, we have established 24 schools in the province so as to deal with the issue of the inclusive education, which is a critical component in the building up and reconstruction of the nation. Honorable Speaker, the latest grade 12 results of the Eastern Cape demonstrates that a more refined early childhood development approach can lead to greater heights in the province and change the outlook of the schooling system in the country. But critical interventions have to be done. One is that we need to provide assessment training to 120 pre-grade R practitioners, offer emergent reading training to 120 pre-grading practitioners again, train 50 grade R practitioners in coding and robotics, allocate funding to 1,200 pre-grade R practitioners to achieve the level 5 certificate as an entry in the context of professionalizing the ECD sector in the country. Lastly, to monitor and evaluate the implementation of such kind of programs, Honorable Speaker. We are again, Honorable Speaker, in the context of infrastructure development as one of the key strategic gateways to change the face of the schooling that we have in the province. A total of 119 million has been set aside for the provisioning of new and maintenance of existing boreholes and construction of sewer ponds for 152 schools in the province. Again, Honorable Speaker, the department has also committed to invest in inclusive education by continuing the construction of Kayaletu, Kanyisa, Amasango, and Sive special schools so that we diversify access, improve access, have a closed chapter on white paper 6, which is a cornerstone in terms of the inclusive education in the country, Honorable Speaker. As part of optimizing utilization of Nontsikelelo Sisulu Science Center in Tofimvaba, we have to make sure that we make science appealing, relevant, accessible, and boast scientific literacy and speak interest in relation to career paths of those that have identified maths and science faculty in the province. Precisely because, Honorable Speaker, we are a maths and science province. We have spotted #1 in the country now in terms of maths and science participation. What is a critical, daunting task for all of us now is on how we convert the maths and science participation into maths and science throughput. That's what should be our strategic task. But in ensuring that we live to the expectations of that resolve, Honorable Speaker, we have to promote science communication and also improve the engagements in the country as outlined above. But equally, develop a strategy of maths and science, teacher development and science, laboratory sciences that includes training of teachers, subject education specialists, conducting experiments, support schools without laboratory facilities in the province, provide necessary assessment. People of the province would observe that we have got a collaboration framework and partnership with the universities, in particular, Stellenbosch, UCT, WUSU, Forte, and NMU, in particular on some of these key strategic gateways in conducting and ensuring that we have got a better appreciation that we need to evolve as the time goes on, Honorable Speaker. We have also, as a department, having a leverage on the public-private partnership model to ensure the efficient, effective resource allocation and collaboration, which will result in the optimal development and operation of the aviation school. The primary reason for us taking that route, Honorable Premier and Honorable Speaker, on the Triple P framework is to foster the collaboration, enabling the exchange of skills, knowledge across the various sectors, but equally the collaboration is crucial for a successful developing and specialized infrastructure projects that highlights the significance and partnership between the private and the public education system that we have, Honorable Speaker. Safe to say, it is one of those tasks that we said even yesterday needed to be guarded a bit jealously by the people of the province and also the people of this country, precisely because of the opportunities that are entailed in that particular assignment, which will require a bit of an agility, both of the state and the people that are involved. We are a system of education, Honorable Speaker, that has got growth, and we are a system of education that is diverse. We are a system of education that requires innovations, precisely because we are in a space where society is evolving. But the evolution of a society must be guided and influenced. Precisely because if it is not, we might think that we are making progress, whilst in actual fact we are digressing. So there is a need of a closer scientific analysis of the progressions that we are doing. Currently, Honorable Speaker, the system has demonstrated that the most rapid increase of numbers in the National Senior Certificate obtained from schools from 2009 to 2023 in the current period begins to give us some, at least comfort, Honorable Speaker, that the gray area that has been identified in the past of age between 17 and age 19, which has been having a massive downward spiral, dropouts if you like, has been closed. We are regarded in terms of the system in the country as one of the most stable ones now. And precisely because we have been able to deal with that question. There's only many issues that are involved at that cohort of kids, at that age cohort. Ukuthwala kupha, teenage pregnancies there, ukuyeka phakathi isikolo kuhanje kuyofuna imisebenzi ngaba basesifama kupha kula age. Ukuqala izinto zabantu abadala bebancinci kupha kula age. And there are so many social determinants that the system must not just pick it up, but resolve them in the best interest of the human capital that the province seeks to address, Honorable Speaker. Our province, as I said earlier on, is one of the highest on maths participation in the country, and one of the highest in physical science participation in the country. And again, one of the best provinces that gives you quality when you talk about science faculties in any universities that you have in the country. Out of 50 students in any university that are doing science in this country, they are coming from 3 provinces. They are coming from Eastern Cape, KZN, and Limpopo. And then it means more than the pass rate of 85% and beyond. How do we build in blocks of quality, of skills, so that you can be able to ensure that there is a guaranteed future moving forward, Honorable Speaker?
Honorable MEC, you have 5 minutes remaining.
Honorable Speaker, we are on the League of 80s now. We are on the League of 80s. Quite surprisingly, there are already districts that are at 89% pass rate in the province. About 2, if not 3 of them. But safe to say there is no district that is below 80% pass rate now. But critically to that analysis, Honorable Speaker, as I wrap up, out of 101,000 kids that are going to write examinations, 38,000 of them are doing maths and science in this province. And out of that 38,000, there is 9,000 plus of kids that are a product of progression policy. That's 1. 2, that are battling in migrating from level 2 to level 3, which is a requirement for them to access higher education via the science faculty. We have then established a number of interventions. 1, to have a LACE program that does not talk to a school, but talk to individual learner need now. That's 1. 2, talk to the performance of the school per subject, per teacher. Thirdly, talk to whether are there any pockets of kids that can be left behind on the basis of our own overarching policy interventions that are there, Honorable Speaker. So I'm then saying, yes, of course, it's a mountain to climb, but of course, it's achievable. Precisely because on the first quarter this year, the Premier said we must present 85% this academic year. Then the kids and the teachers of this province and his support and the OTPs and the treasurer's support system gave us 87% in the first quarter, which is a resounding achievement for the people of the province. Again, Honorable Speaker, currently we are at 82% pass rate from the second quarter. And if you look in terms of the increment and improvement of results of the province, in fact of the country, there are 2 provinces that consistently have improvement in grade 12 in this country. Is KZN at 7% pass rate consistently for the past 4 years? Is Eastern Cape at 5% consistently for the past 5 years? Now, if you then look into those research throughput, then it means we are capable of giving the province a resounding success come the end of the year and above 85%. And critically to that is to honor, Honorable Speaker, the best mathematics teachers of the province and of the country that are at Motherwell in Nelson Mandela. I have never thought that mathematics and science-based teachers in a country can be in Eastern Cape. I've never thought of that. And then that tells you that we have succeeded in investing on the capacity, both of the state and the human resource that is expected to deliver the mandate of the people of this particular province. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. I wanted to thank the chairperson of the Advisory Council, the president of the Learner Representative Council that is coming from Nyangasina Secondary School. She's here. and also to thank the top management led by Sharon Mastorp, the HOD, and thank DG for the interventions that have been yielding results from the OTP, and also the HOD and the MEC for finance in trying of injecting systems that yield the throughput that we all claim now. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable MEC.
I table, therefore, Honorable Speaker, the budget vote 2024-2025 and the annual operational plan 2024-2025, the annual performance plan 2024-2025. Thank you so much, Speaker.
Thank you so much, Honorable MEC. Honorable members, the policy speech and the table document stand referred to the Portfolio Committee, responsible for the subject matter of the vote in terms of Rule 161, subsection 2. Honorable members, before we conclude, can we just acknowledge in the House we have the principal and the maths teachers of Sokaisa Senior Secondary School. Where are they? I hope I pronounce it. Oh. We also have the South African Youth Council that is in attendance. Psych. The exec CEO is in attendance. I'm not sure who is sitting where. And the team from exec as well as the OTP management are all in attendance. And all of those that have their guests that unfortunately we did not get an indication of, you have all been welcomed here, and thank you for sitting through this process. I think it was quite informative for us at the end of the day. Honorable members, we will now adjourn, conclude the business of the day. May I just make an announcement that the lunch is for members of the legislature. Please, your guests, honorable MECs, you will make provision for your guests as normal in that respect. Yes, we are still waiting for the adjustment budget. Honorable members, we will adjourn until Thursday, the 8th of August at 10 o'clock for the tabling of the rest of the policy speeches. The House is therefore adjourned.
Step